Jim?
Come on, sit down. Have one with me. Hey, a glass for Mr. Barkley.
What are you doing all dressed up like a San Francisco banker? Hey, I bet today's a big day, huh?
It's the day, all right. You know, Nancy Staves doesn't come into Stockton, so I have to pick her up in Stego at 3 o'clock.
You're not nervous, are you?
Nervous? What have I got to be nervous about?
Not a thing?
Darn right. You know, Heath, I must have written Nancy Briggs 100 letters over the past 2 years, and it's just like courting her in person.
You bet.
She's a genteel Eastern woman, but that don't make no difference. She and me are gonna get along just fine.
You don't need any more of that. You're gonna meet that 3 o'clock stage. What do you say I do the honors?
Well, that's mighty kind of you, Heath.
Hey, easy, Jim.
Ooh. I think Nancy will like these.
Well, we'll soon find out. Hey, easy, Jim.
I'm just fine.
You sure you can drive that buggy all right?
Yes, I can drive that buggy. Don't worry. Ah, Jim!
Hey, you hurt, Jim?
Hurts my back again.
Well, don't you move. I better get the doc.
No. Nancy, she's expecting me.
Well, you can't drive that buggy like that.
She's waiting for me. Who's going to pick her up, Heath?
Inside, mister. What happened?
The outlaws were held up.
It was awful, just awful. They shot the driver and that poor girl.
She caught a stray bullet. Miss Briggs here and I were lucky to escape with our lives.
How long ago did they leave?
Oh, about a half an hour. We thought it'd be safer to stay here by the stage.
Oh, you were right. We'll see the sheriff when we get into Stockton.
Do you think we could put the suitcases in your surrey there?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, I'm supposed to meet someone at Peshtigo.
Well, I'm Heath Barkley, Miss Briggs, Jim North's friend.
Oh, hello.
I'm afraid I have some disappointing news.
I hope he didn't change his mind.
No, that's just a little trouble with his back. Nothing serious.
Oh, I'm glad. It's nothing to worry about.
In fact, Jim sent these to you.
Oh, they're lovely.
The sooner we get started, the sooner you can tell Jim in person.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barkley. I'll be staying in town for a while. I'd like to buy you a drink sometime if I may.
It'll be my pleasure.
Goodbye, Miss Briggs.
Oh, goodbye, Mr. Clayton. And I want to thank you for all the kindness you've shown.
Don't mention it. Oh, and I'd like to wish you the greatest happiness in your forthcoming marriage.
Thank you. I must confess, Mr. Barkley, I'm a little bit nervous.
Well, there's nothing to be nervous about.
Well, I keep thinking that Jim won't like me.
Oh, Jim will like you. Miss Briggs, have you ever been in Denver?
Denver, no.
Carson City?
No, Mr. Barkley, why?
Oh, you just look familiar to me.
Well, I don't see how that could be. I've never been west of St. Louis. I mean, school teachers see they can't afford to travel very much. Miss Barkley, you're a good friend of Jim's, aren't you?
Well, I've known him a long time.
Well, tell me about him.
Well, I wouldn't know where to begin.
What's his favorite kind of food?
Well, I hope you're good with chili peppers.
Chili peppers.
He acquired quite a taste for them in Mexico last year.
Oh.
Oh, didn't he write you about that?
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, I guess he wouldn't.
Why? What happened?
Well, there was a flood in some small Mexican border town. He and Maria went down to see what he could do. Stayed about 3 months.
Oh, 3 months. And he's quite a man, and his wife must have been quite a woman to stay down there with him.
Maria's his housekeeper. His wife, Rachel, died 8 years ago.
Oh, of course, his housekeeper. How can I forget? He's mentioned her so often in his letters. How much further do we have to go?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm much more tired than I thought. Mind if I rest a bit?
It's going to be fine. Yes. Here they come. Maria, here, hide this. Quick. No, Maria, how do I look?
Oh, you look handsome, Senor Jim.
Good, come, Maria. Maria, I will stand here. You open the door.
Yes.
Well, there she is, Jim, safe and sound.
Please, I take.
I'm so glad you're here. Did you have a nice trip?
Oh, yes, it was fun.
Wonderful. I'm glad you had a nice trip.
I better be going, Jim.
Oh, no, Heath. No, stay. Have some coffee or something. Come in, come in. You must be tired, Nancy. The coffee will pick you up. And we'll have something to eat. Come on, sit down. Right here. Sit down. Nancy, you and me, we got a lot to talk about.
I suppose we do.
Now you can understand why I didn't ask for your picture. It means I'd have to send you one of mine. Well, I didn't want you to see what I looked like, my age and all.
Jim, you don't have to.
Well, now you've seen me. You can turn around and walk out right now, Nancy. I wouldn't blame you one bit, not one bit. Just ask Keith and he'll take you back to town.
I want to stay.
You're sure, Nancy?
I'm sure.
I promise you, you're going to be happy here. I'm going to make you happy. I'll love you. Everybody will.
Jim, I'm happy already, and I'll make you a good wife. The best I know how. Excuse me, dinner will be ready in a few minutes.
Now, Nancy, I don't want you spending all that time in the kitchen from now on. Wait till you see the dinner she's prepared for us. She thought of everything. As a matter of fact, she put in just the right amount of chili pepper.
Oh, with a little help from Maria.
Jim is fortunate to have found you, Nancy. And we're all very glad he did.
Thank you, Mrs. Barkley.
Tell me, what can I do to help you with your wedding?
As a matter of fact, Victoria, I was going to talk to you about that. Nancy would like to go into town to buy a few things.
Well, I'd love to take her. I know just the seamstress to make your wedding dress. Heath can drive us in, and I'm sure there'll be enough time for me to show you our school.
Your school?
I hope you like it. We can use a good elementary grade teacher. The children are lovely, and with your experience, there'll be no problem at all.
Oh, Mrs. Barkley, I don't intend to teach school.
Nancy, in your letters, I thought you said you'd like to maybe teach school.
Oh, well, Jim, I've changed my mind. I don't want to teach school. Oh, I mean, you understand, don't you? I have a more important job here, learning to be a rancher's wife. I want to devote all my time to that.
Of course, Nancy, I understand. I'm sure you do too, Victoria.
Of course. We'll find somebody else.
Dinner is served.
Jim, would you mind too much if I escorted the next Mrs. North to dinner?
Not at all. Victoria?
We'll be a couple of hours picking out laces and materials. Heath, would you like to help us make a few decisions?
Yeah, well, I think I just made one. I'll be back in 2 hours.
Mr. Barkley, would you care to take a hand?
Well, why not?
Quite a town you've got here, Stockton. Much bigger than I thought.
Growing every day?
Place for expansion. Might be a likely spot for investments.
You're in investments?
Yes, with my father. You may have heard of him. Everett Clayton.
Owns half of San Francisco.
Can we play poker? I want one card.
Mr. Barkley?
3.
The dealer will try his luck with these. And bet $5.
I'll raise you 5.
It's Mr. Barkley's bet.
I'm out.
I said I'll raise you 5.
I'll just call you.
Pull the flush.
Not good enough. Have a full house, all royal.
You didn't have to draw any. I'd say you're a pretty slick dealer.
Take it easy, mister.
Can you get your hand up?
Throw your dog off right now.
Come on, Johnny.
I think I've had enough poker for today, Mr. Barkley. It's a very bad habit of mine, playing poker with strangers. I must get over it. May I buy you that drink now?
Whiskey.
Bartender. 2 whiskeys, please. How is Miss Briggs?
Just fine. She'll be getting married pretty soon.
Well, that's splendid, splendid.
Too bad about that other girl on the stage. What was her name?
Miss Morrison. Sheila Morrison. It's a terrible shame about her.
Was she from out here or just visiting?
Well, I really don't know. She never said much of anything.
Well, you're lucky. Usually a man rides with a woman more than an hour. He gets her life history.
Yes, of course. Would you like a cigar, Mr. Barkley?
No, thanks.
Well, that's unfortunate. Very good, you know.
Jack's Saloon, Copper Creek.
Yes, you've been there, huh?
A couple of years back.
Well, it's a terrible mud hole. I personally am very glad to be out of there.
Well, I must be going. Thanks for the drink, Mr. Clayton. See you around.
I'll look forward to it.
This is the suitcase, Heath. Nobody's called for it, and we ain't found no kin to notify.
Anything in it might help identify her.
Just clothes, like these. Some sort of dance hall girl, wouldn't you say?
Thanks, Phil.
It's nice of you to ferry me back and forth like this, Heath. Just trying to thank you, that's all. Your mother, she's a wonderful person, you know? I've never met anyone like her. In fact, everyone's been very kind to me. Jim's friends. Everyone. Except you, Heath. You don't like me, do you?
I have no reason not to like you. Do I?
No, you have no reason at all.
I've been waiting for you. Here, Nancy, let me take those. What did you do? Come on in, Heath. You buy the whole store? Well, what's in this one? Oh, let me warn you, Nancy, before I open it up, I'm not one for fancy hats.
I hope it's not too fancy.
No. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Put it on. Oh, she's gonna make a fine wife, ain't she, Heath?
She sure is. Well, I better be getting on, Jim.
You gonna stay for supper?
Well, I'd like to, but it's Brandon time, and you know how that is.
Well, you have to eat. You might as well eat with us. Ain't that right, Nancy?
Yes, please stay, Heath.
Well, I'd like to, but if I don't get back, Nick's liable to fire me.
Oh, listen, if Nick fires you, you come to work for me at twice the pay.
Thanks, Jim. Goodbye, Nancy.
Goodbye, Heath.
Goodbye, Heath. Well, I guess we'll get some of this merchandise upstairs. Nancy? What's wrong, Nancy?
Heath doesn't like me.
Doesn't like you? That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Well, that's true.
But he's a friend. He's a good friend. What reason would he have? Anybody can see how beautiful you are and how happy you're making me. Any man would be a fool not liking you, loving you. Maybe he likes you too much. He likes you too much, and he's afraid to admit it. You know, young fellas are like that sometimes.
No, Jim, it's nothing like that.
You're the prettiest girl ever to come to Stockton. Prettiest girl most likely ever to show up here. That's it, all right. If I'd known you were half as beautiful as you are, I'd have sent Shorty, my foreman, to pick you up. He's about as tall as he is wide and handsome as a mud fence.
Jim, I want you to promise me to never be jealous of Heath, of Shorty, anyone. Promise me that.
I promise.
You're what I want, Jim. Just what I want.
Nancy.
But, Jared, you're going to San Francisco anyway. Now, couldn't you at least stop by Black & Foster's and see if you can find something?
Yes, I will be in San Francisco. Yes, I could stop by Black & Foster's. However, as much as I like Jim and his bride-to-be and wish them every happiness...
Well, it's not a question of their happiness. It's a question of a wedding gift.
Ah, that's important, true. But so is this extremely complicated case I'm trying.
Well, I suppose I could find something here in Stockton.
As a matter of fact, I saw 2 beautiful silver candelabras at Hammond's.
Candelabras?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think about that, Heath?
Oh, fine.
Heath, you know we got a whole army of our cattle out there waiting to be branded.
I'm leaving town for a few days, Nick.
After Friday.
Can't wait till then.
Well, I can't spare you. I need to finish that branding.
I'll hire some extra men.
We've hired all the extra men we can. What I need is a man out there to take charge and give orders, like he owned as much of this ranch as I do.
Well, gentlemen, lovely lady, I bid you good morning. And please, do not fail to let me know how all this comes out.
What do you have to do that's so all-fired important?
Never mind. It'll wait till Friday.
Well, after Friday, you can take off for a week. If you like, you can go to China for all I care.
Heath, something is wrong, isn't it?
I'm not ready to talk about it just yet, Mother.
There. You put his feet up. What do you think?
Oh, I think it looks very nice.
Maria, when we started this about an hour ago, the lamp was right where it is. The side table right where it is. Right back where we started.
But the chair, we have moved the chair.
Yes, we moved it about 2 feet. Oh, Maria, I'm hopeless. I'll just have to face up to the fact that Jim's wife, Rachel, she knew where to put a piece of furniture and make it stick. Maria, what kind of woman was she?
Oh, she was a nice woman, a good woman.
Come sit beside me. Come on, sit down.
All right.
Tell me about her.
You love him very much, don't you?
Yes, I do. I love him.
You are good for him. Better in a way than she could ever be. There is a lightness in him, a laughter. It was never there before. Never.
Well, then, you think if I can't cook as well as she could, or sew, or move furniture, you think we'll be all right together?
Oh, you'll be much better than all right together.
Thank you, Maria.
Well, what are you two cooking up? And Maria, talking about cooking.
I will have lunch ready in just a few minutes.
Good. Well, Nancy, what have you been up to? Well, how about that? After 25 years, I can finally put my feet up. Thank you, Nancy.
Well, I'm looking for Mr. Jim North.
You're looking at him? Come on in. What can I do for you?
Well, the gentleman at the bank told me I should look you up, sir. I'm Reed Clayton. I understand you have some acreage for sale.
I have lots of acreage, Mr. Clayton, but I don't know where you got the idea that any of it was for sale.
Hello, Miss Briggs. Nice to see you again.
Hello, Mr. Clayton.
You two know each other?
Oh, yes, he was the gentleman that was so kind to me on the stagecoach.
Oh, Mr. Clayton, pleasure to thank you for that.
Well, don't thank me, sir. Now, if I could talk to you about that acreage, I think I should tell you I represent Clayton Industries. You've heard of us, of course.
Oh, yes, I have. Are you planning to put in an operation here?
Yes, sir, a packing plant. It would employ about 300 people. Now, I know that might not mean much to you, sir, but to the people of Stockton, it might mean a great deal.
Yes, it would. I'll tell you what, Mr. Clayton, I'll saddle up a horse and we'll go for a ride. Maybe we can talk business. Nancy, would you get Mr. Clayton a drink?
Let's stop here. Oh, Heath, what a lovely ranch. What a perfect spot for a picnic. Are there fish in that stream?
Some.
Sit down. Talk to me.
We better be getting back. It's getting late.
Yes, of course. Heath, you know Jim loves me very much, don't you? I love him. I want to make him happy. I can make him happy. You want him to be happy too, Heath. I know that. That's really why I came here today. Jim knows you don't like me. He doesn't know why any more than I do, but it's just eating him up. I love this country. Heath, what are you trying to do to me and to Jim unless you really want to hurt him?
I don't want to hurt anyone. Least of all, Jim.
Well, then remember this. If you do anything to hurt me, you hurt Jim much more.
What happened?
Reed, it's not going to work.
You told me yesterday everything was fine.
With Jim, at Heath Barkley.
You're not marrying Heath Barkley. You're marrying Jim North.
Not if Heath Barkley has his way.
What's he done?
Done? He's done nothing.
Well, then calm down.
I just can't reach him. I can't get through to him. He's not the kind you can buy off. He has a feeling there's something wrong.
All right, he has a feeling, so?
I know this kind, and I know he's not going to stop.
I told you to calm down.
I don't want to be around, Reed, when he starts shaking things up.
When he finds out. If he finds out. They'll be long married. They'll be Mrs. Jim North, the lady of the manor.
Copper Creek isn't that far away, Reed.
Don't worry about it. Everything's going beautifully, beautifully. You act as if you were made for this.
Reed, I'll slip. I'll say something. I'll do something, and Jim, he'll find out the truth.
No, he won't. Because he's so madly in love with you, he wouldn't see the truth of it. It was lit up with fire on the mountain. And that's the truth.
I just can't hurt him. He's a good man. He's a decent man.
He's an old man. He's a rich old man. He's buying more beauty and more love with his money than he deserves. And we're taking far less than we could get. Should get.
Reed, this was a mistake. It was a mistake right from the beginning.
Do you remember when you told me that I'd given you hope? That I've shown you a way of life you didn't even know existed? You can have that way of life right now.
No, not like this.
Just like this. For you and I, that's the way it's got to be. We knew that when it started. Do you remember Copper Creek? The saloon at Copper Creek? Do you remember how I hated you in those garish clothes, showing yourself to everybody? Do you remember how you hated yourself? Can you go back to that now? So now you just think about the two of us. In a couple of months, after you leave him, I'll take you back home with me. And you can be Mrs. Reed Clayton.
Back home? I thought your father disowned you.
Well, when I can prove myself. There's no more the black sheep for me. I've got the brains to make it big in the business world. But I need a stake, and you're going to get it for me.
I don't want to hurt Jim.
Now, I want you to forget about that old man and think about me. About me. Because I can't make it anymore, drifting around from town to town, winning $1 here and there in a cheap poker game. I need your help. So I want you to go back to Jim North and forget all about Heath Barkley.
Hey, Clayton.
I didn't hear you knock, Kiefer. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. I'm sure that everything will be just fine. Everything. I don't like your timing very much, Kiefer, but thanks for coming.
Bartender said you wanted to see me. Now, what have I got? It's worth 10 of your dollars.
Well, if we can come to an agreement, we'll call that a down payment on services rendered.
What do you got in mind?
Do you remember the gentleman we played poker with the other day? Mr. Heath Barkley?
Nancy?
I'm in here, Jim.
Did you have a good day?
And you?
Well, I've been spending my time with Jared.
Oh.
Well, aren't you going to ask me what we were doing? It was mighty important business.
All right. What were you doing?
Nancy, you're not really interested, are you?
Yes, I'm really interested.
Well, I made out my new will. Them lawyers, they sure know how to take something simple and make it complicated. My whole life went into building up this place. Sure, I had a few rough years, but now I got something I'm really proud of. Nancy, something I'm proud to give you.
It's too soon. We've only known each other less than a week. Now, how do you know things are going to work out?
From the moment I first saw you, I knew things were going to work out.
This ranch, everything, it's too much.
Too much, it's not enough. Nancy, I don't know how to say it, but in a way, this ranch, well, it's me. That's what I want to give you.
Jim, excuse me, I have to go upstairs.
Nancy? Nancy, can I come in?
Come in.
Nancy, why are you packing?
I'm leaving. Maybe we were wrong to think these things could work out by letters.
But the letters are over now. It's a time we've been together that's important, isn't it? That's when we really began to fall in love.
Jim, I'll make a mess of things. I'll make everyone unhappy. Heath, your friend.
What about him?
I saw him today, and Jim, you must let me go. It won't work.
You saw Heath today.
Oh, yes. Victoria was going to show me around the ranch, but she was gone.
Instead, Heath did. Here it is the height of branding season. He doesn't like you, yet he spends time running you around the ranch.
Jim, it's nothing like that.
I got something to straighten out.
Jim, I know where you're going, but you're wrong.
Nancy, you're in my way.
Heath had nothing to do with it.
I'm afraid he doesn't.
Jim, please.
Heath, I want to talk to you.
Jim, I gotta catch a train.
I want to talk to you now.
When I get back?
It'll be too late. Get on off that horse.
All right, Jim, what's bothering you?
Where you going in such a hurry?
I'm afraid that's personal.
Personal and coincidental.
What are you talking about?
You and Nancy leaving town at the same time.
Nancy leaving?
You don't know anything about that, do you? Heath, when Nancy came to me, she brought me more happiness than I'd thought I'd ever know. I haven't got the words to explain to you what she means to me, but if I lose her, I'm finished. I'm a proud man, Heath. But I'm asking you to leave her be. You're a young fella. There'll be lots of girls for you.
Jim, it's nothing like that.
Don't play innocent with me. I know what you've been up to. Taking her for rides. Asking her to come up to the ranch to see you.
Look, Jim, if Nancy said anything like that, why...
Say anything? She's too much of a lady to say anything. I'm saying...
Jim, you're wrong. I'm not going to argue with you now. Not now.
You're not going to take her away from me without a fight?
Jim, I'm not going to fight with you. You're wrong in what you're thinking, Jim. One of these days you're going to see that. Your dog, mister.
I guess he just don't like your smell. Mister, you just hit my dog. Like hitting me. Now you're gonna have to draw.
I'm a witness. I saw the whole thing. The man was drawn on you. I'll testify to that.
Thanks, Herb.
You know who he was?
No idea.
Well, you're in the clear.
I better get the sheriff.
Yes, sir.
I'd like a ticket to Copper Creek, please.
Copper Creek. All right.
Just about closing, mister. You're gonna have to drink it fast.
Don't want to drink, just some information.
What kind of information?
Now, come on, give me a little kiss, huh?
I don't want to be.
You like that, don't you? Sure you do.
Excuse me, mister.
Good, well, go home with the powder, huh?
Come on, cowboy. The lady's had enough of your
What do you mean?
attention.
I just
Let's
wanted to
go.
be
We're
curious.
closing.
Now,
Let's
what
go
is it?
home now. The lady don't care for your company anymore.
Well, you found what you were looking for, Heath. Might as well sit down and have a drink.
Now, what was that question, mister?
Never mind. Last drink I had in this saloon was, 3 years ago.
3 years? Whew, that's a lot of drinks ago.
That girl on the stage, you changed places with her, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew sooner or later you'd find out.
Is that why you left?
One thing Reed taught me is when to throw in a bad hand. Oh, is it Jim you're worried about? Well, let me tell you something. How would he feel after 2 months if his wife told me that she didn't love him anymore and she leaves? Naturally, a nice financial settlement would be in order.
You know, you had me fooled a couple of times.
Did I?
At the stream that day, the way you talked.
Huh?
I thought maybe for a minute there I was wrong. Maybe you really did love Jim.
Not a chance. I'm sorry if I made him think different.
But that's the way it goes, huh?
That's the way it goes. I know he had a different kind of picture of me, but I want you to do me a favor. When you see Jim, you give him this. That's really how I look. And when he feels sad, this'll cheer him up. All he has to do is look at it, and he will feel very lucky that I left him. And now why don't you leave, Heath?
He loves you. You know that, don't you?
That's not my fault.
I think it is. Whatever Jim is, he's not a fool. You gave him back something.
But not love. Maybe kindness to an old man, but not love. Anyway, it's over. It's all over. You said he loved me. Well, he didn't. He loved a girl called Nancy Briggs.
But in Jim's eyes, you were Nancy Briggs.
I'm tired, Heath. I'm going home. Good night.
Mind if I walk with you?
Suit yourself. There's a gun pointed at you right across the street. I swear I didn't know he was here.
Hey, ready?
Cup of coffee before we ride out?
I would catch some on the range.
What are you so worried about? You did all you could. You brought her back. The rest of it's up to Jim.
That's right.
As if she has the guts to tell him the truth.
You should tell him.
And Jim should take it.
Good morning. Aren't you going to have any coffee before you leave?
No, Mother. Heath here is just itching to catch up with some branding he owes me, so we gotta get going.
We'll see you later, Mother. Oh, if there's any news from Nancy and Jim, would you send one of the hands out and let me know?
No, I think I'll ride over myself.
I get it. Oh, Nancy, Jim, come on in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heath.
Next time you kiss Nancy, you'll be kissing the bride.
Well, congratulations, Jim.
Oh, I'm so happy for both of you.
Best wishes to you, Jim.
Thanks. Victoria, I'd appreciate it if you'd handle all the wedding arrangements. Heath, I'd like you to be best man.
We'd like it.
How do you like that? She's arguing with me already. We'd like you as best man. No sign of him yet?
No.
Nick, what makes you so sure it's Browse we're after?
One of the newest hands at the ranch is why.
That's no reason, though.
Well, he told me himself he used to hang around Cherokee Strip.
Well, so did I once. That don't make a man a thief.
Well, I got it all figured out. Scientifically, right from this book.
Isn't that one of the books Jared brought home?
That's right.
And this Winfield, he's got it all figured out. Says you can spot a criminal by his face. His ears, for example.
By his what?
His ears. Now, the way I make it out is that you draw a line straight back from a man's eye. And if his ear falls below that line, he's a criminal.
That's all?
That's it. So, we started missing things around the ranch, and, I started taking a closer look at all the hands.
And you came up with Bill Browse?
He's got the lowest ears. Quiet. Shh.
Well, we'll see who laughs now. It's Bill Briles.
Gotcha. What? Heath! What'd I tell you? What? What's wrong?
Look at that.
Low ears.
Browse, what are you doing out here?
What do you mean, what am I doing out here?
Just answer the question.
Now, look, I didn't do nothing wrong.
What's going on here?
We just caught ourselves a thief.
Nick, Briles and I rode out here together looking for you.
He could still be the thief.
Nick, not 20 minutes ago, somebody broke into the tack room and stole 4 of our best saddles. That's what we rode out here to tell you.
Well, now, how do you know it wasn't him?
Because he was standing right beside me when it happened.
Oh.
Nick, why don't you let the sheriff handle these things?
Do that, will you, Nick?
Maybe you got it wrong, Nick. Maybe we're supposed to be on the lookout for people with high ears.
Chapter 4, Suspects. Find out.
say it's hot enough for a beer.
You buying?
All right.
Well, what do you know? I gotta go over to the office first, sign a couple of papers.
I'll wait inside.
Nick, you'd have just about enough time to go see the sheriff.
Oh, I'll get around to that. Oh, by the way, here's something you can have.
Winfield, huh? So that's what that ear business was all about.
A lot he knows.
Well, if you had asked, Nick, before you ran off playing detective, I could have told you there's no proof his system works.
I got proof it don't.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Maggie. Oh, what's all the excitement? Beer. No, whiskey. Whiskey. You catch your thief? Just pour the whiskey.
You didn't catch him.
Anyone ask you?
I never knew you detective fellows were so temperamental.
Maggie, I remember the good old days when bartenders used to mind their own business.
I remember the good old days, too. You know, there hasn't been a big spender in here since the 4th of July.
Well, here's the big spender. Right.
The town's full of drovers now, and they don't get paid until all cattle are sold. Well, nothing to do but wait.
Well, your waiting's through, lady. Here, play some. You, dance?
Why not? I think we better sit this one out.
I just saw you want a little excitement, honey.
Watch it, Sonny. Say, how old are you, anyhow?
Old enough, sister. Hey, there's enough here to set him up for everybody.
Wait a minute, boy. Put that money back in your pocket.
Hey, why don't you stick your nose back into your own business, mister? What's the matter? Didn't you hear me?
You put that bottle back up here on this bar. Right now.
Listen, don't worry about it, mister. There's enough here to buy this whole stinking place.
I don't care how much is there. I don't sell to kids. Now give me that bottle.
Now, you don't want to shoot the best bartender in Stockton, do you? I told you to cut it out. Now, hold it.
Well, bunch of real sports, huh? What's your name, mister?
Who, me? Nick. Nick Barkley. But what's yours?
Danny. Just Danny. And you'll want to remember that, Barkley.
Oh, Danny, I sure will remember it. Here, you take this gun, put it back in your holster, and leave it there. Now, you better get on home before your folks start wondering where you are.
Who's the desperado?
You were lucky you weren't gunned down. Harry, give my brother here something for his nerves, will you?
You know, I think I've seen that kid somewhere before.
That kid's hard to overlook. Give me one, too, will you, Harry?
What was going on?
Well, first of all, he came in here. He's going to buy the place a drink. Then he's going to buy the place. Then he's going to shoot Harry.
Sheriff catches him running around with that gun on. He's going to be in a mess of trouble.
Oh, he and trouble aren't too much strangers, I'm afraid.
You know, Nick, he reminds me of somebody I used to know.
Yeah, who?
You, when you were about that age.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, sir. I can remember you getting bailed out of quite a few scrapes when you were no older than he is.
Two of a kind, huh?
Wiggins.
Wiggins who?
Well, that's what that boy's name is, Daniel Wiggins. I can remember I did some legal work for his parents when they moved here about a year ago.
What kind of parents let a boy out like that?
They probably don't know who he is. I think it was a doctor, Mrs. Wiggins. I made some kind of a financial arrangement to keep him in school up in San Francisco. They live out on the north side of town, just beyond the stage stop.
That boy doesn't straighten out. He's never going to see the best side of 16.
Oh, he'll probably grow out of it, grow up to be mayor.
Probably.
Nick, speaking of city officials, when are you going to go see the sheriff?
I was going to go over there,
Well, of course, now, if you're a little too embarrassed to let him know that you've been doing detective work on your own, I'll be
I'm
very...
going. And Harry,
He's buying.
Yes?
Oh, howdy. You Mrs. Ray Wiggins?
Yes, what is it?
Well, my name's Nick Barkley. And, well, I know it's none of my business, but it's about your son, Danny.
What on earth are you talking about?
Well, he seems to be making quite a show of himself around town, and I thought maybe you and the good doctor should know about it before he gets into trouble.
Mr. Barkley, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a son.
Well, but you just said that...
I believe my wife was quite explicit, sir. We do not have a son. Now, good day, sir.
Jared. He's around?
No.
No.
Well, what'd he say?
Who?
Who? The sheriff.
Oh, the sheriff. Well, I got so busy in town that, well, I...
Nick?
Jared, you said the doctor and Mrs. Wiggins live out by the old stage stop, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I went out to see them. You know what they told me?
No, I don't know what they told you.
They didn't even have a son.
Well, they do.
Well, now, why would they say such a thing, then?
I don't know, but what I am interested in is what the sheriff intends to do about our 2 missing horses and 5 of our best saddles.
Will you stop pushing? I intend telling him.
When?
Nick, are you going to help me move that herd south or not?
Heath, you're the one I've been waiting for. Come on, let's go. Nick! You coming? Where have you been?
Oh, but out there in the barn getting the gear ready.
In the barn? Ain't no work in the barn. The work's out where I am.
You sure get in a hurry. Wait! My saddle. It's gone. Rushed out again?
Yeah, this thief must be half Indian.
He sure knows how to cover tracks.
Just got that saddle broke in good, too. Looks like I'm going to have to break in another one. All right. I think it's best I went see the sheriff. Come on, Coco. Get up, yeah. Yeah.
4 days. You finally get around to telling me about it.
There were reasons, Fred.
Yeah, sure. That's all you're missing?
Up till now, I haven't checked in the past 10 minutes.
Get in line and take your turn.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
Well, it means this, Nick. For the last 2 weeks, there's been a rash of thievery. Every outlying ranch for 15 miles has been hit.
You think it's a gang or something?
I don't know. Well, there have been some drovers in town, but I haven't made up my mind yet.
No clues, nothing?
Nothing. Nobody's heard anything. Nobody's seen anything. I circled every ranch looking for tracks. The few tracks I've found just petered out before they led anywhere.
Well, Heath and I had the same kind of luck.
Nick, I'll do the best I can.
Thank you, Fred. I'll see you later.
Boy, I want words with you. I said I wanted words with you, boy.
Well, I don't want none with you.
Don't you get smart with me.
Just stay away from me.
Why'd you come back here?
Well, I'll tell you. I knew you'd be worried about me. Daddy. You touch me one more time and I'll blow your head off.
Murderous little savage. Get out of this town before something happens. Go away, for your mother's sake.
What are you whispering about, huh? You afraid somebody's gonna hear? She's my mother! She's my...
Daddy! It's Nick Barkley. I want to talk to you.
Well, I should have figured.
Why did you follow me, Barkley?
You set that trap for me out there.
Uh-huh. Sue Deer trap. You walked right into it. Visitors not welcome. You sure were hanging high and loose out there.
Trap a man like you trap a wild animal. That's very funny. This whole roof could come down on top of you. You know that.
Oh, just so you know.
You steal all this stuff, did you?
Uh-huh.
What are you, 14 years old?
You recognize this, Barkley?
It's my saddle.
I told you in the saloon you'd have reason to remember me.
I sure can pick the ones to help out, can't I?
I don't need any help.
You sure did when you got into it with your old man in the middle of that street.
If you'd left us alone, I'd have killed him.
Your own father.
He's not my father. Now shut up about it.
Well, now that you got me here, what do you plan on doing with me?
I ain't decided.
Well, now, sooner or later, you're gonna have to turn me loose.
You sure about that? Now, let's see. What do you want for supper? Canned beef? Truffles? Caviar?
Caviar?
Well, it's a little too fancy for a Barkley, isn't it? All right, we'll just have beans.
Do you know where you are?
Sure. Worked out mine.
Not worked out. Abandoned.
What's the difference?
There's a big difference. This is the old Ophir mine. 16 men were buried alive here. That's why they closed it up. This whole mountain's faulted and shifting.
Well, then nobody will come nosing around, will they? You know, you never did answer about why you followed me.
What difference does that make? Let's get back to this little business of yours, shall we?
How to get rid of all this stuff?
Well, you see, I sell this junk cheap to storekeepers. They don't ask questions as long as they make a neat profit. We're all thieves together.
Uh-huh. Is that what you plan to be when you grow up? A thief?
I just practice what the good book says. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I've had mighty good teachers.
You seen Nick?
I figure he left early.
His bed wasn't slept in last night.
Well, maybe you met a pretty girl in town last night.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we better take a little look around for him. If he shows up grinning, full of some wild story, you can help me break his foolish neck.
Keep shaking there, you won't have to worry about ever getting loose. Well, I got it figured out now what I'm going to do with you.
I'm afraid I'm not going to bring very much from your business partners.
No, probably not. But how much you figure you're worth to your family?
What are you getting at?
Well, I figure I'll ransom you.
I'm afraid I'm not going to bring much there either.
Well, I'm not greedy. Now, let's see. I need enough to get me set up in style somewhere else. But not so much that they're going to have trouble getting it in cash.
Danny, you know what you're talking about. You're talking about kidnapping. Now, there's a big difference in that and stealing things to trade for food to eat.
You think that sheriff's going to see the difference?
There's a big difference. They catch up with you on something like this, well, I can't help you.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's what you followed me out here to do, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just untie those ropes and you'll make everything all right.
I could try, Danny. Danny, I could try. I could say I Got thrown off my horse, and you found me and helped me out, and that's all that happened. They'll believe me.
$5,000. That's what they're going to believe, Barkley. $5,000. Now, let's see here. To the Barkleys. If you want Nick back alive, get $5,000 in cash. Have Mrs. Barkley deliver to Indian Springs at noon today. I'll be watching. No trick. Or no Nick. There. That ought to do it.
Yeah, that ought to do it. First step to you being hanged.
Catching a Sioux ain't that easy.
You're no Sioux.
That's where you're wrong. Danny Running Dog, that's me.
Danny Wiggins.
Wiggins.
Yeah.
That's his name, not mine. He's her husband, that's all he is.
Who's your father?
Maybe these looks of mine got you fooled. My father was an Indian.
Running Dog.
It was his name. He took my mother from a wagon train. Later, they rescued her. When I was born, she wouldn't even look at me.
So they sent you away?
Yeah, but I kept running off to go back to her. She hated me. I never could understand why. And then he told me. Told me who I really was. $5,000, Barkley. That's all I'm going to think about now.
Heath, it's Nick's horse. I'd say we don't have much choice. Get the sheriff.
No.
You don't think you're going out there alone?
Yes, I am, just as soon as you bring me the money from the bank.
Now, look, we don't know who we're dealing with
We are
here.
dealing with Nick's life.
I'm aware of that, Mother, but we're not going to save his life by doing what that note says.
The note says if you want Nick back alive. Now, that seems plain enough.
No, it isn't plain enough. Believe me, I know something about the pattern of kidnappers. They're scared. Once they get the money, they usually kill their victims so they can't identify them.
Nick is safe as long as he's of value. After that, there's no telling.
Well, last year, when they kidnapped the Tompkins boy, they let him go.
They probably felt sorry for him. But it's more likely they knew he was too young to identify them.
We could hide out early near Indian Springs. Catch him as he picks up the money.
And if you don't, if something goes wrong? I don't want to do anything that will jeopardize any chance Nick might have.
All right. We'll get the money.
Jared, Heath. Get the sheriff.
You still worried about your neck?
Both our necks.
Well, they have that note by now. Next thing, they'll hightail it into town and get that money out of the bank. You know, you ain't near as talkative as you were.
I was just thinking about how much alike you and I are. No, I'm serious. I remember when I was about your age, my father gave me a horse. And he told me the day I learned to ride that horse, I'd become a man.
Yeah, and I suppose you went right out and rode him, huh?
No, that old horse threw me farther than most crows fly. It's quite a horse, though. I remember I used to go into the barn at night to sleep just to be near him.
You know that I'm not interested in your horse or your story.
Oh, I love that animal. But he didn't love me too much, though. One time I went into curry and groom him. He liked to kill me. Something about that horse, he just hated the sight of me. So I decided that I'd hate him just as much as he hated me. I took my rifle. And I went into the barn. And I aimed that old rifle right between his eyes. I couldn't pull the trigger.
Why not?
Because I found I still loved him. And all of a sudden I understood there was nothing I could do about the way he felt about me. So I knew what I had to do. I had to walk away from him. I had to forget him. I had to start thinking of something else, something bigger, something more important to do with my life. I had to go on living, Danny. For myself.
I'd have pulled the trigger.
Planning to shoot my mother, are you?
No, it's your brothers I'll be looking out for.
Danny, supposing all this goes according to your plan, you get the money, then what?
Hold up here till dark and get as far away as I can before morning.
What about me?
First town I go through, I'll drop a note to your folks, tell them where to find you.
Danny, hold up a minute. Wait a minute. Look, it's not too late, you know. You can call this whole thing off.
I know nothing about the law, but my brother's a lawyer. He does. And, well, maybe between he and myself, well, we can straighten this thing out for you. Leastwise, we'll stick with you.
I can't. I haven't got any choice now. Can't you understand that?
Take cover in these rocks here.
I'll take care of the horses.
We got 2 hours. Wish I could tell you it was going to seem shorter.
Just as long as he shows up.
What are you doing here?
Just hunting rabbits, sir.
Well, hunt them someplace else.
Sure, Sheriff, but what's happening? What's going on?
Never mind. Get back there and stay out of sight.
Yes, sir.
Look!
Let's get the horses.
Our horses, they're gone.
$100,000.
Maybe you can use that to buy over your mother. There's $1,000 to make her admit you exist.
Shut up!
And another $1,000 to make her look at you.
I'm warning you.
And you can always use the rest of it to make her love you.
I said shut up!
Well, that's the end of the tracks.
At least we know he was in this area. Fan out, keep your eyes open.
Danny! Danny, you all right? Can you move? Can you move your legs?
I guess we're in somewhat of a mess, huh?
Yeah, you could say that.
You know, there's no reason for you to believe me now. But I was gonna leave a knife where you could get to it. With a little work.
Why, Danny?
I don't know for sure. But it doesn't matter now.
It matters, Danny. It matters. We're both gonna get out of here together.
It's too late, Nick.
No, Danny. It's not too late. It's never too late. Danny, the cleaver. The cleaver over there, can you reach it? It's right next to your right arm. Try to reach it. Reach out for it. That's it. Come on, Danny. Try. Come on, boy. Danny, your gun. Can you reach your gun? Can you get to it? It'll give you more reach. Throw it over here.
Now get out of here!
Come on, Danny, we're going out of here together. Look, Danny. I can't promise you that your mother will ever change, but I'll help you, Danny. Our whole family will.
No. Now you try and move me, and the rest of that ceiling's gonna come down.
Danny, we're going out of here together. Besides, Black Irishman and half Indian. That's a team that's pretty hard to beat. What do you say? Come on. Come on, boy. Let's go. Come on, let's get out of here. Come on. Danny, remember, together. Huh?
Still couldn't find him?
Oh, we looked everywhere.
Including the saloon.
I thought he liked it here.
He did.
Maybe he was just putting on an act.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Neither do I. You wouldn't run out on me.
Well, and I feel, Nick, that he wouldn't be the first backslider we've run into.
Still think something's happened to him.
Why don't we give the back range one more circle?
All right. Well, what happened to you?
Miss Barkley, I know it cost plenty squaring all the things I took, so I dug this up for you.
You mean to tell me you went back into that mine after I gave you orders not to, knowing full well that a good sneeze and the whole thing had come down on top of you? Don't you listen to anybody?
Only when they're right.
Ah, come on, get cleaned up, boy. Come on, move.
Here it comes now. Senator Banner, I'm from the Stockton Eagle. Sure didn't expect to see you driving this stage.
Well, I had no choice, honey.
Something happened to the driver?
Yeah, a couple of fellas held us up 4 or 5 miles out of town, you know. They nicked the driver here in the shoulder. A couple of you boys get a hand. Get him out of here. Come on, Archie. All right, boy.
Did you recognize them?
Didn't have time to recognize him. Just shot him. All right, get the man over to the doctor now.
Well, a term in Congress doesn't seem to have spoiled your aim, Senator.
Why should it? We're always taking pot shots at one another in the Senate chamber, huh? Well, I certainly didn't expect anything like this. A warm welcome homecoming. I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Thank you, one and all. Stockton Eagle, eh?
Well, Senator.
Well, now. I hardly expected a welcome from the opposition.
I'm not extending one, I assure you. I live here at the hotel.
I thought maybe you'd come to bury the hatchet, Your Honor.
My party's never going to make peace with gunslinger politics, Bennett. No matter how colorful they may seem.
Sometimes I get the feeling that Judge Daggett doesn't approve of me.
How about a statement, Senator?
Why, just 1 second. I'd be glad to oblige you, young man. Now, here. I don't make no bones about it. I've come back to run for re-election. I want the job, I can do the job, and I'm the best doggone man in the world for the job.
I'll second that.
Victoria
Jim.
Buckley, you are a sight for hungry
I
eyes.
heard you were coming to Stockton. Is Amelia with you?
No, she's still in Washington. We thought the trip might be a little too much for her. What are you doing here? I thought you'd be at the ranch.
Oh, we're having the house renovated, and I'm staying here till it's finished.
Family with you?
I'm beginning to wonder if I have a family this week. Nick and Heath are out on the range, Jared's staying in the bunkhouse, and Audrey's in New York.
Little Aunt in New York? We do have a lot of catching up to do.
Almost 6 years.
Say, what about tonight, dinner, huh? Just the two of us, we can fill in all the gaps.
It sounds wonderful.
About 7 o'clock in the dining room.
Fine.
Victoria? You still found a pheasant and a chilled bottle of Chablis?
Mm-hmm. And our Chablis was particularly good this past year.
It's a shame we can't arrange with a hotel to furnish us with a gypsy orchestra.
Your company is enough, Jim. See.
Stockton Eagle, huh?
That's right, Senator.
Thank you. Oh, be sure and spell the name right.
I knew Banner had once courted Victoria Barkley before he got married. I never realized their relationship was so close.
Thank you. No, Victoria, during the time I was in Washington, I think the most difficulty I had was trying to learn two things. First, how to control my temper, and secondly, how to balance one of those silly little teacups on my knee.
Well, apparently you managed both very well. I didn't hear of a single incident while you were in Washington.
No, otherwise there wouldn't have been an opposition senator or a teacup left in one piece. You know, you're absolutely right, Victoria. This Chablis is excellent.
We had a lot of rain last year, and that makes a great difference.
Well, it bears out what I've always said. You know, given proper irrigation, there isn't anything you couldn't raise in California. Why, it could be the greatest, the richest agricultural center in the world.
Well, I imagine we'll come to that someday.
If only we could convince people like William Daggett that the most important problem is water. What we need is an aqueduct, a canal system of some kind, you know? No, all they can think about is how much money it's going to cost, not how much money it will eventually earn for the state. You know, they're blind. They have no foresight. They're just not in touch with destiny.
You really believe in this state, don't you?
Yes, I do, Victoria. Yeah, I was raised in the Sierras, you know, brought up, schooled in a gold mining town. I guess I'm just part of the dust and the dream.
I suppose we all are. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. And so, to destiny. Oh, I've missed you in Amelia these past years. I wish you were here.
So do I, Victoria, but our doctor advised against me.
Are you blind? Huh? Why don't you watch where you're going?
Oh, it's all right,
The
Jim.
clumsy fool.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I want to make it up to the little lady.
Take your hands off.
Come on, little lady. I won't buy you.
Take your hands off her. Drunken fool.
Jim!
What's the matter with you?
No.
You all right?
I had that coming. Sorry, ma'am.
Guess I haven't learned to control my temper as well as I thought. I'm sorry, Victoria.
Bartlett.
Who is it?
Message from Senator Bannard.
Just a minute.
He's in room 20, ma'am.
Jim.
Huh?
Victoria.
Oh. Yeah, I'll be right there. Right. What?
What is it? What happened?
Happened nothing. What do you mean?
Well, this note, it said to come here right away.
Well, I didn't write you any notes.
Well, I don't understand.
No, neither do I. What is this? Who brought you this?
Well, one of the clerks, I guess. I don't know. I was half awake. I merely glanced at him.
Hey, I don't like the looks of this. We better get you back to your room.
Hold it, Senator!
I figured Daggett was desperate, but I didn't think he'd be this desperate.
Judge Daggett? Oh, no. I've known him for years. I don't agree with him politically any more than you do, but this...
I'm afraid you've got a lot to learn about politics, Victoria. His only chance of winning this election is to discredit me. Yeah, it looks like the honorable judge has embarked on a smear campaign.
Well, what are you going to do?
Victoria, this is going to be bad enough for me, but I'm not going to let him drag you into it, and the sooner he knows that, the better.
But you haven't any proof. If you start trouble...
I didn't start the trouble. He did.
All right. At least talk to Jared first. Find out where you stand legally. But this may not even be politics. No, there are some people in this valley that don't particularly care for the Barclays. It could be aimed at me.
All right. Jared at the ranch?
We'll be there in an hour.
Yeah, he had everything all set up in advance. The camera, ladder at the window, the rig waiting outside the hotel. All he had to do was snap the picture and run.
Did you get a look at him?
Well, no, the flash kind of blinded our eyes for a minute, Jared, you know, and it all happened so fast.
And you're sure there were no witnesses?
It was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, how about outside? Could anyone have seen him use the ladder?
No, not even the town drunk was up that late. Oh, it was a mighty clever frame, all right. A married United States senator traveling alone meets up with a beautiful widow that he once courted. Well, it fits just as neat as a hook in a boot, hmm?
It fits, all right.
You know what bothers me the most, Jared, is what this scandal could do to your mother's reputation. Just smear it right...
Oh, hang my reputation. I've been gossiped about before.
But not like this, Victoria. They'll drag your name through the mud in every barber shop, pool hall, saloon. Everybody from preachers to drunks will be talking about you.
My name has probably been mentioned in worse places than saloons.
Oh, yeah.
But the important thing is, how will all this talk affect your chances for re-election?
Badly, I'm afraid. If we can do what it did to Andrew Jackson, think what it'll do to Jim.
Yes, the political consequences are going to be bad enough, and well, then there's Amelia.
Amelia?
Sure. Newspapers will blow this up out of all proportion. When she sees that picture in the paper...
Oh, surely she won't believe anything like this.
You're a beautiful woman, Victoria. And Amelia's known all along that I've been very fond of you. It could worry her, and with her heart as bad as it is.
Now, wait a minute, Jim. I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's deal with what has happened, not what might.
Uh-huh.
Now, first of all, I think you should stay here tonight.
Here?
Right here. The work on the house is almost finished, and you planned to be back here tomorrow anyway, didn't you?
I can't stay here, Jared, especially after what's happened. Well, people will be gossiping even more than they are now.
That's exactly the point, Jim. You've always stayed here, and if you don't stay here now, it's going to make people wonder what you are hiding.
Jared is right. Now, think about it, Jim. Think about it. If you do leave here now, what do? Just stop talking to each other and ignore each other when we meet?
I just don't like to be hamstrung. Now, I'm going to find Daggett, and I'm going to stop this thing before it even starts.
If you do that, Jim, without proof, Daggett won't need those pictures. He'll sue you for slander.
I guess maybe you're right. All right. I'll stay here. Because if I go back to that hotel, I'd probably run into him, and you know me and my short fuse.
Exactly. So you just sit tight. I'll check around town tomorrow. I've got some pretty good informants. One of them might know something.
Fine. Thanks, Jared. Just try to remember, waiting has never been one of my strong points.
This silver dollar, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm holding here in my hand weighs less than half an ounce. By measurement, no more than 1.5 inches across. It's small. But nobody can tell me how hard a man has to work to earn one of these. Because you see, my family were farmers. And at a very early age, believe me, I learned what it took to put a dollar away in my jeans. I'll tell you something, I haven't forgotten that. I'm not ashamed to say that I value money. And I can't spend a dollar, mine or yours, without first knowing where that dollar is going and whether I'm going to get a full dollar's value in return. And I'm distressed, my friends. I am appalled by some of the men in our government who squander our taxes as if it were so much corn seed, who instead of being the guardians of our money, are ready to pour it out in all kinds of wild, fanciful schemes. Now, you take my opponent, Senator Bannock, for example. Now, this man argues that building aqueducts is progressive, is far-seeing. There's no such thing, my friends. It is as reckless an idea as I've ever heard, and in the end could bankrupt this whole state. Now, that's not a far-seeing idea, is it? Senator Bannock is no visionary. I'll tell you what he is. Senator Bannock is a man of incredible impulse. We all know of his record of impulsive acts, the gun duels, of fist fights. Only the other night at the hotel, he almost battered a man senseless. Now, some of you may admire behavior like that, but I want to tell you that rashness has no place in the Senate of the United States. We don't want a hair-trigger temper in our representatives, my friends. We want stability. We don't want scandal. We want dignity. We want sanity. And if you agree with me, and you know how to mark your ballot, defeat this man, my friends. Show him the only trigger we respect is the vote. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Jared.
Hello, Will. Oh, thanks, Sam. Give my best to your wife.
Haven't seen you in quite a while.
How have you been?
Busy, especially with the elections and all.
I can imagine.
I don't suppose I can count on Barclay's support.
Afraid not, Will. Politically, we're still on opposite sides of the fence.
Well, that's what makes horse races and elections.
I guess so.
Oh, I didn't see Bannock at breakfast this morning. I understand he cut quite a figure in the dining room last night. How was he?
When I see him, I'll ask.
Sombrero!
Come on, Sombrero. I knew you'd remember me. Look what I got for you. I remember me, old Jimbo. Sure enough, your old trail buddy, you do. Huh? Well, I thought sure enough you would. How you been? Huh? You looking good. How are you? It sure is mighty good to see you again.
He's been waiting for you, Jim. Hasn't answered a whistle well, ever since you left.
Hey, that's it, huh? Yeah, sure gonna hate to leave him, you know. We sheriffed a lot of trails together, me and Sombrero. But then, if I shouldn't win the election, I wouldn't have to leave him. That'd be kind of a bright spot, wouldn't it?
Well, I see Sombrero still remembers you.
I sure did. Great old boy, anyhow, just as sleek and sassy as ever. I bet you he can still outrun anything in sight.
Well, now, I don't ever remember him outrunning Misty Girl.
Well, he never really tried. You know, he didn't want to discourage her.
That has all the earmarks of a challenge.
It is.
You got a race. Length of the pasture and back?
All right. He's getting my saddle out of the barn. Oh, do you think Misty Girl will be able to make it to the end of the pasture and back?
Oh, let's go. Did you find out anything?
I've only had one day.
No luck then, Jared, huh?
Not yet, Jim. I checked the hotel. The room next to yours wasn't rented.
Well, then he must have had a pass key. And what about the valise and the camera tripod? What did the desk clerk say about that?
There wasn't any. The room was undisturbed. I checked with the housekeeper when she went in this morning to dust.
But that's impossible. We both saw the equipment.
Obviously, he had an accomplice. Now, somebody else had to be registered at that hotel to cover up his tracks for him.
That brings us right back to Daggett.
Not necessarily, Nick. This might answer a few questions for us, Jim. It was left at the hotel desk this morning for you while the clerk was off duty.
Yeah, you're right. It certainly does.
Here you are, Jim. I'll have you saddled up in just a minute.
You forget the saddle. Take a look at this.
Where'd this come from?
We don't know. It was left at the hotel this morning.
You still suggest we wait, Jared?
Yes, I do. This picture gives us motive, but not proof.
You know, one time when I was sheriff, a bunch of riffraff tried to frame me for cattle rustling so they could grab this little gold diggings I was working, you know. I didn't have any proof then either until I beat the truth out of one of them.
Jim, you're not a local sheriff anymore. You can't afford that kind of direct action, and you know it.
Well, it's better than sitting around waiting for that trap to close. Look, I kept my mouth shut because you asked me to. But I'm not going to let a thing like this be passed around.
Nick, you so much as go near Daggett, and it's going to give even more validity to that picture. Now, I'm telling you, as a lawyer, if you do anything foolish, the opposition is going to welcome it.
I'm not going to withdraw from this election no matter what. So, Jared, you go ahead and get the proof. I don't care how. And get it fast.
Get over here.
Where you going?
End of town?
This hour? Business or pleasure?
Business, but somehow I think it's going to turn out to be a little pleasure.
Like breaking into Daggett's office, trying to find those pictures?
And the plate that made him.
You know what Jared said about direct action?
Oh, now, Heath, you know I'm no politician. That doesn't apply to me.
Well, his office is in the middle of town. That's pretty risky, Nick.
Then stay home.
What makes you think I'm going?
Because you don't trust me.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
I'll saddle up.
Uh-huh.
don't believe you gentlemen had an appointment. But then, perhaps you Barclays are in the habit of calling in the middle of the night.
This isn't exactly a call, Judge.
Oh? Well, what then? Oh, yes. Apparently you were searching for something. May I ask what?
Quit playing possum, Daggett. You know what we're here for. The pictures of my mother and Jim Bannard.
Pictures?
That's right.
Pictures? You gentlemen amaze me more and more. I'm a jurist, not a photographer. Breaking and entering is a criminal offense. I'm surprised you Barclays would stoop to it.
We're surprised you'd stoop to blackmail.
That's a serious accusation to make without proof. As a lawyer, I'd advise you against repeating it. Unless you want even more trouble than you have now. The sheriff will be passing on his round soon. You know, I've known your family for years. I'd hate to do anything, shall we say, to embarrass you. So I suggest you leave before he arrives.
Jared, no sense you getting all riled up. We're just trying to help.
Help? Help who? Daggett? You certainly didn't help Jim.
Well, at least we did something. We didn't sit around and talk about
Whose
it.
harebrained idea was this anyway? It sounds like one of yours.
No, wait a minute. It wasn't
What
such a
makes you
bad
think Daggett is going to be stupid enough to leave those pictures in his office? If he has got them, they're going to be in a safer place than that.
What happened?
Go ahead, Nick. Tell her.
All right, what is it?
Well, Heath and I ransacked Daggett's office tonight.
Ransacked it? Did you get the pictures? All they got was caught.
Caught?
No, wait a minute. Don't blame Heath. It was all my doing. He only went along with it because he couldn't talk me out of it.
Where is Heath?
Down in the stable, unsaddling the horses.
Nick, you've really done it this time. Not only have you broken the law, but you've handed Daggett a nice present all wrapped up in blue ribbons. If he isn't involved with the pictures, he knows now that we've got something to hide. And if he is involved, he knows that we're scared.
Guess we sure messed up things, didn't
That's putting it mildly. With your kind of help, you've already got him elected.
Jared, I admitted we made
Nick, you are the most stubborn, mule-headed...
Wait a minute. That'll be enough of that.
All right, boys, all right. Now, you listen to me. We're a family. Mistakes or not, we stand together. Now, I suggest we all go to bed, get a good night's rest, and discuss this in the morning when we're calmer.
You're right. I'm sorry, Nick. I guess I got a little carried away.
Well, I guess we both did.
Let's turn in.
Good night, Mother. Jim.
Good night. Sure.
Victoria, the last thing in the world I want to do is cause any bitterness between your sons. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like old times, isn't it, huh? You and me riding out together? Come on. Come on, boy. Come on.
Jim!
Well, now, where in blazes is he going?
Probably going for a ride.
This early in the morning?
Sure, best time of day to go.
Maybe we best follow him.
Nick, I think we better mind our own business for a change.
Yeah, well, all right.
Well, this is an incriminating picture. I don't wonder that you and the Barclays are concerned about it.
You deny seeing this picture before?
Are you insinuating that I have?
Well, it's pretty obvious from the message on it that the opposition party's behind this. And you are the opposition, Daggett, whether you're willing to admit it or not.
Bernard, you seem to be making a pretty serious accusation. I hope you're prepared to prove it.
I'm prepared to back it up with action.
Ah, action. My dear Senator, without proof, that would be as indiscreet as being photographed in your hotel room with Victoria.
Who said it was my hotel?
Well, Is that the obvious place? I simply assume that you and,
Is it obvious? Well, Victoria had a room in the hotel, too. How do you know it wasn't in her room?
Your room, her room, what difference does it make? The point is, you finally slipped up. You've finally been caught in something that'll show the voters what an unprincipled man you are.
You're a liar and a blackmailer, Daggett. I might not be able to prove it, but one thing, I'm not going to stand still for a smear campaign. If you're going to try and discredit me, you're going to have to do it not only in public, but at gunpoint. Do you understand me, Daggett? At gunpoint.
Violence. You think that's the answer to everything, don't you, Bennett? Violence. Well, I'll tell you something. It isn't going to work this time. You're not going to force me into a gun duel with you, no matter what you do.
I'll be waiting for you tomorrow morning at the south edge of town, Daggett. And if you're not there, I'm going to come and get you.
You do, you'll meet the sheriff.
Sheriff won't be able to keep me away from you forever. Tomorrow morning. I want to remember, the only man who's going to withdraw from this election will be the dead man.
Well, finally. I was beginning to think you weren't coming, Gil.
I wouldn't have if your message hadn't said it was so important. It's risky meeting this close to town.
I didn't have any choice. I want some more prints of that picture right away.
I told you to let me make more than just 2 copies.
I didn't think I was going to have to use them. But Bannard refuses to withdraw. Here's the plate. I want enough prints for every newspaper in the state.
All right. But you'll have to pick them up. I'm not coming out here from Oxville again. With a man like Bannard involved, it's just too dangerous.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm driving to Sacramento in the morning. I'll pick them up at your shop on my way.
Oh? Our original deal was for $200?
That's right.
This will cost you a little extra.
What are you talking about? Our deal included as many prints as I wanted, and you know it.
It didn't include 2 trips.
All right, I'll give you another $50.
150 sounds more like it.
150?
Bannard would probably be willing to pay even more.
All right. You just better make those prints legible. Or you don't get a cent.
Your clerk said you'd be back in a few minutes, so I decided to wait.
I presume you came for the same reason Bannard did.
Jim was here?
Oh, yes. A couple of hours ago. He showed me that rather, shall we say, interesting picture of the two of you.
I didn't know he was planning to discuss this with you.
We discussed nothing. He insulted and threatened me.
That picture is a fraud, Will. I came here to ask you to put a stop to it.
Indeed. And what makes you think I could?
Well, it may not be your doing, but obviously someone in your party is behind it. And with your influence, you could certainly put a stop to it.
Last night, your sons ransacked my office, accused me of arranging for the picture. Now you come in and ask me for my help.
What Nick and Heath did was wrong, but they were trying to end a vicious smear, and so should you. No matter what you think about Jim, I can't believe that you would condone such dishonest tactics to defeat him.
Jim Bannard is an impractical man, with plans that will ruin this whole state. He's also a violent, unprincipled killer. He proved that today when he threatened my life. I feel that anything which defeats him is a service to the people.
Then you're willing to allow this fraud to go through.
Fraud? I wasn't in that hotel room, Victoria. Only you and Bannard were.
You'll regret that, Victoria. Believe me.
I doubt it.
Victoria? You can tell your Senator Bannard I won't be at the edge of town tomorrow morning. I'll be driving to Sacramento. By the time I arrive, I'll expect word of his withdrawal from this campaign.
I knew we disagreed on politics, Will, but not on principle. Obviously, I was wrong. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Victoria.
Breakfast will be ready. What are you doing?
You said Daggett was driving to Sacramento this morning. I'm going after him.
With those?
That message he sent was a threat, Victoria. It was carefully disguised, yes, I'll admit, but nevertheless a threat.
So are those pistols.
At least they're honest.
Daggett is not going to fight a duel with you. He told you that yesterday.
And I'll just have to make him change his mind.
Bannard?
Victoria gave me your message, Daggett. I'm here to give you one last chance to settle this thing honorably.
Honorably? Well, I couldn't outdraw you, and you know it.
All right? We'll even the odds. I'll give you first shot with a dueling pistol.
You're even more of a fool than I thought you were. I don't deal in guns. Get out of my way, Bannard.
Very well. You leave me no choice. But first, I'm going to have to relieve you of those pictures.
You'll relieve me of nothing!
He's dead, Jim.
Got to find those pictures. Nothing. He must be in his valise. Got to be in here. One. There's got to be more than one. It just doesn't make sense.
Maybe the sheriff will find more.
What are you talking about?
A man is dead, Jim. We have to report it.
You know what that could mean? Huh? But they'll accuse me of murder.
But it was an accident. I saw it.
You saw it. You, the compromised woman. The woman who was photographed in my hotel bedroom in the middle of the night. Don't you realize what the prosecution can do with that?
But the picture is a fraud. All we have to do is find the photographer.
The photographer has gone. Victoria, don't you... Will you please just listen to me? But you see, without a witness, your testimony means absolutely nothing. Huh? Why, they just tear you to pieces. They say you were lying to protect your lover. They might even accuse you of being an accomplice. No, the best thing for us to do is just walk away.
Walk away?
Sure. There's nothing here to connect us with Daggett. No pictures, no nothing. They'll find the body. They'll assume it was a robbery, and nobody will ever know any different.
We'll know it, Jim.
Victoria, if it was only my life that's at stake, or my political career, I wouldn't ask you to do this. But there's no point in reporting this now to the sheriff. Daggett's dead. We can do nothing for him. But if I have to go through a murder trial, even though I won't be convicted, but the excitement, the tension, it could very well kill Amelia.
I'm sorry, Jim. I can't withhold evidence, even for Amelia.
Well, what are you doing? I won't let you do it. You understand? You can't. I won't. The big...
George. Oh.
Forgive me. Please, I just lost control. Do what you have to do.
Anybody here?
With you in a minute.
Good evening, ma'am. What can I do for you?
Now, don't pretend you don't know me. We met the night you delivered that note.
Note? I don't understand. There must be some mistake.
There's no mistake, and you know it.
How'd you find me?
Judge Daggett is dead. This picture was found in his valise.
Daggett is dead?
It was an accident.
What kind of accident? Was Bannard involved?
Yes. But it didn't happen the way you think. I saw it. Now, I need your help. Unless I can prove that this picture is a fraud, my testimony won't mean a thing.
Oh, no. I'm not getting mixed up in any murder. I've got enough trouble.
You're indirectly responsible for this tragedy. One man is dead and another's life is at stake. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
Not when it's him or me. You know, just being part of a blackmail plan is a jail offense. And it wouldn't be my first one.
All right. If you won't testify willingly, I'll have you subpoenaed.
I'm getting out of here just as fast as I can.
You won't get very far. Once I report this, every sheriff in this state will be after you.
Oh. Well, we can't have that, can we? Not for a while. Not for quite a while.
Jared would get back. And as spooky as a cow pony with a burr under his blanket. Can't even write a letter to Amelia.
Would you like me to write to her?
No. Oh, thank you, Victoria. The words will come. Maybe I'd be better off to wait until we hear what Gil had to say. Victoria, suppose he won't admit that the picture was a fraud. You know, he can say that Daggett hired him just to get a picture or proof that we were lovers. We won't be any better off than we were before.
But Jared has the note Gil wrote the night he took the picture. He can't deny his own handwriting.
Well, in his boots, he'd be smart to deny everything and stick to it.
Jared's handled tougher cases than this. He'll break them down.
I hope so.
You can pour me one of those, Jim.
Jared, I thought you'd never get back.
I'm sorry it took so long, but that photographer was a little tougher to crack than I thought.
But did he confess?
All of it.
Oh, Jim.
Thank you, Jared. Thanks.
It was my pleasure. Of course, there'll be an inquest, maybe even a trial. But with Gil's testimony and Mother as an eyewitness, you haven't got a thing in this world to worry about.
Well, Jim, it looks like your chances for re-election are better than ever.
Provided, of course, that the voters are willing to accept the testimony on its face value.
Well, of course they'll accept it. They like you. And what was it you said that night at dinner? That you wanted to be part of the dust and the dream.
Jim, I think these voters want that dust irrigated. And they figure you're the only man who can do it.
I hope you're right, Jared. I sincerely want to be a part of this state's destiny.
You will, Jim. You will.
I'll drink to that.
Morning. What's the problem?
Blocked. We're blasting in this area, Major.
Using dynamite?
Yes, sir. You familiar with it?
Moderately. I know it's tricky compared with gunpowder. What's the project?
The irrigation ditch. We got water on the other side. We aim to bring it down into the valley.
Glasses, Sergeant.
Sir.
You'd be using that defile. First charge at the top, second near the bottom should do it.
Yes, sir. Just about a minute in between. You a demolition man?
Hardly.
Excuse me, sir. But would you be, by any chance, Major Jonathan Elliott?
I am.
Could I... Would it be okay if we shook hands, sir? I'm mighty proud to know you. Excuse me, sir. Morning, ladies. Sorry I got to stop. They'll be blown to bits. Hold it, Major. Stop! He'll never make it.
I'm betting he will.
Hang on, Audra! Hang on! I can't hold him, Audra! Jump! Are you all right, Audra? Yes. It's my leg. I can't make it. Run! Run, Audra. I can't make it.
Nick, I think that's the best-looking woman I've seen you with in a long time.
Mother Cyrus has fixed up the guest bedroom. Thank you.
But first, Madame is going to try the latest thing in Barclay buggies. Right this way.
Guaranteed to stop and turn better than any cutting horse. And I have some new magazines for you to read.
Oh,
Thank you.
well, you all keep this up, I may decide never to get well.
If I know you, you'll be tearing up and down those stairs under your own steam within 2 weeks.
Well, I certainly hope so. I know I'm very grateful to Major Elliott. Oh, I hope someone thought of inviting him for dinner.
I did. As a matter of fact, he should be here any minute.
Good.
Oh, that must be him now. Audra, your nose is shiny.
Is it?
No, on second thought, I think it's your eyes.
Hello, Silas.
Oh, come in, Major.
Thank you.
I hope I'm not late.
No, sir. You're right on time and mighty welcome.
Hello, Major. Jared.
Howdy. Hello, Nick.
Major.
Good to see you again, Mrs. Barclay. Miss Audra, you both look just fine.
Please, sit down.
Thank you.
Major, you have no idea how nice it is to see you. Only, how does one thank a man for doing what you did?
By not mentioning it again, please. Seeing you, all of you, is ample payment. Well, it's nice seeing you again, Major. And if you'll excuse me, I have a few things to tend to. Of course.
Audra, why don't you pour the Major a cup of coffee?
What's your assignment going to be here? Locating 5 acres of suitable land within easy riding distance of Stockton for a supply depot, preferably near water.
That sounds like the North 40 to me, and it's not very far from the river.
Well, that's fine. I'll make that my first stop.
And why don't you make our home your headquarters while you're here? There's plenty of room for you and your orderly.
Wouldn't want to impose?
It's no imposition at all, believe me, Major.
And I could be your guide, if you'd like.
Well, in that case, I accept. With your permission, of course, Mrs. Barkley.
Permission granted, Major.
And just how long are we going to be around here anyway, Major?
Oh, it's hard to tell. Listen, I've got an idea. You're not really needed here. Why don't you go up to San Francisco and stay at the Palace and enjoy yourself for a few days? The treat's on me, of course.
Well, thank you now. But I don't think I will.
Suit yourself.
Where would we be going now?
Not we, me. I'm going to look at that land.
Alone?
I'll have a guide.
A guide? It wouldn't be the girl now, would it, Major?
We won't discuss it.
Come off it, Elliot. Why do you think I want to stay around here?
That'll do, Sergeant.
Major?
Yes, sir, Major. I'll have the other horses saddled in a moment, sir.
Very good, Sergeant. Very good. Good morning, Miss Audrey. Handsome view. Is it always like this?
It's especially lovely this time of year.
Where every prospect pleases, and only man is vile.
A soldier who reads poetry?
It has sustained me from time to time when everything else has failed. May we rest here for a moment?
I've been reading Swinburne.
Oh, yes.
Are you familiar with his work?
My favorite lines are from the Garden of Proserpine.
Here where the world is quiet.
No, another stanza.
Which one?
From too much love of living, from hope and fear set free, we thank with brief thanksgiving whatever gods may be, that no life lives forever, that dead men rise up never, that even the weariest river winds somewhere safe to sea. Obviously, that's not your favorite stanza.
No. It's too dark, too hopeless.
And your world is full of hope. Full of bright and beautiful sunshine, isn't it?
I like to think so.
Does the Major have any further orders for me, sir?
No, Sergeant. We'll be moving on now.
Very funny.
More beef, Sergeant.
No, thank you, ma'am. It's the finest meal I've ever had, but I'm all full up.
Well, you figure the land in the North pasture is what you're interested in, eh?
Well, it's the best I've seen so far, but I'd like to scout around some more, if you don't mind.
Oh, Ed Masters wants to know if he can come out and do an interview on you for our local newspaper.
Only if I can't avoid it.
That's one of the prices of fame, I'm afraid, Major.
And a waste of time. I gave an interview several months ago in St. Louis. The reporter wanted to know all the gory details of old battles, while I wanted to talk about the things that concern me today. The interview was a fiasco, of course.
What are the things that concern you, Major?
I'm sure we'd all be interested.
Our cities have become cesspools of ice, and the corruption is spreading throughout the entire land.
Well, now, do you really feel that way, Major?
Yes, and it's one battle I'd be eager to fight.
I've told the Major he should run for public office.
That'll do, Sergeant.
Oh, try our wine. It's from our own vineyards.
Thank you.
Begging the Major's pardon. No wine for you, sir.
Surely just a half a glass, Sergeant.
Oh, no, sir.
The regimental surgeon gave me strict instructions. Alcohol for medicinal purposes only, and only in an emergency.
McQuaid is my faithful watchdog. And he's right, of course. My old wounds sometimes prohibit my simple pleasures.
Do you want to hang? Because I can arrange it anytime you like, Major, and you know it. So here are your orders, Major. Number 1, you stay away from the Barclay girl.
Don't dirty her name by mentioning it.
Oh, you're a real little leprechaun, aren't you, my love? Order number 2, you stay away from the booze. Even you should know better by this time.
Get out.
Oh, get out. Happens to be order number 3. You stop your stalling, you finish your business, and you get out. Because if you don't, I may not be able to save your skin this time. Do you understand? So say good night. And I'll be seeing you in the morning, Major. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get me a gun and I'm gonna get you.
You're gonna go sleep it off. Now get out of here, Crowley, and don't come back.
I'll get you. I'm gonna get me a gun. I'll be back.
It's getting late, and we're getting ready to close up. So if you don't mind, sir, Major Elliott.
We've met?
Well, not exactly, but I was with the 7th at Dollar Creek. Oh. If you want a drink, it's on the house, Major.
Well, thank you, but you buy yourself a drink and bring me a bottle, please.
Yes, sir, Major.
Hello, Major. They call me Cora around here.
Good evening.
And getting on towards morning, I got me a room upstairs, out across the alley. If you'd like to do your drinking there.
Get away from me.
You heard him, Cora. Beat it. The best in the house. Pennsylvania rye whiskey.
That'll be just fine. To the brave men of Dollar Creek.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. My compliments.
Oh, my pleasure, Major. And we'll be open as long as you care to stay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I didn't expect you tonight, Major.
I didn't figure you'd expect me, Meg.
Meg? Oh, it's me, Cora. Remember? You want me to play like I'm this, Meg. Now, what was she like?
Mm-hmm. I know you, Meg. Did you think I'd ever forget?
Major, I think you had a little bit too much to drink. I'm gonna make it all right. It's a little cold in here.
morning.
Good morning, Audra. Morning, Audra. You and the Major going out again this morning?
After breakfast.
Did you know, Jared, that Major Elliott started out as a rear-rank private? Do tell. Right.
2 months later, he was a sergeant, he was commissioned in the field, and he finished the war as a captain. Before he came here, he commanded a garrison at Tucson.
Now, somehow I should have known that she would know all that.
Is the sergeant going along with you?
I suppose so.
Somehow I figured that. There's not too much the Major can do without the sergeant.
Sergeant McQuaid is his orderly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry I overslept. It's something I rarely do.
Oh, there's no need to apologize. I'm just glad you had a good night's rest.
Actually, I didn't get to sleep till almost dawn. When I did, I slept like a child.
Well, I've got to get out and prod those hired hands. Now that Heath is up in San Francisco, it leaves all the work to me. There'll be no gallivanting around now. Here? All right. Bye-bye.
Major? Well, I'm afraid I have to be on my way, too. Mother, you are under strict orders to have a good day.
Fine.
You too, Major.
Thank you. I'm sure I will. I envy you your family, Mrs. Barclay. My father died when I was a boy, and I never did have any brothers or sisters.
And your mother?
My mother. Oh, she's living in Mexico now. I suppose I did have a family of sorts when I was growing up. My mother kept a roof over our heads by running a lodging house. So there were always plenty of people around. Men from all over the world. That gave me an education. I suppose I didn't appreciate it at the time. Yes, my mother gave me quite a head start in life.
Do you have pictures of her?
No, but she was beautiful. She was the toast of the lodging house. I remember people used to call her by her first name. And so did I when I was quite small. Folks used to think that was funny, and I guess it was.
What was her name?
Meg.
Well, hello, Fred. Come on in.
Morning, Jared.
What brings you out our way?
I've got to see Major Elliott.
Oh, what about?
You remember a girl worked at the Gold Eagle named Cora?
Yeah?
She was murdered last night. The bartender says that you were one of the last people to see Cora alive, Major.
I was in town last night. How did she die?
She was strangled. Whoever did it put his brand on her.
His brand? What do you mean?
The letter A was burned into her shoulder with a match or lit cigar.
Wasn't there a book by Hawthorne, The Scarlet Letter, where the heroine was forced to wear the letter A?
Why?
She was accused of being an adulteress.
That's it.
Oh, Major, how did it happen you were at the Gold Eagle so early this morning?
I couldn't sleep. You recall my exchange with McQuaid about the wine last night?
Yes, I do.
Well, I'm still carrying some Confederate lead around in me, and it's painful. When it hurts too much and I can't sleep, alcohol will usually do the trick. However, our regimental surgeon prefers that I abstain until times of real need. Last night was one of those times.
Major, was there anyone else in the saloon?
Just the bartender and the unfortunate girl when I arrived. The bartender was alone when I left.
Jared, you remember Judd Crowley?
Judd Crowley? Yeah, he used to work for us about a year ago.
Yeah, that's the one. He's been helping out over at Kane's stable recently. The bartender says that Judd was giving Cora fits about something or other most of the night. So bad he had to throw him out just about the time you arrived.
Yes, I remember now. He was so drunk he could hardly stand on his feet.
Did you hear him threaten anyone?
He said he was going to get a gun and come back.
Yeah, that checks. Now, by any chance, did you happen to see him later?
Well, as I recall, there's a stairway outside the building across the alley from the saloon.
That's right. Go on.
I have no idea where it leads. As I was leaving, I saw a man walking up those stairs. I remember because I wondered who else would be out that late.
Was it Crowley?
It was.
Thank you, sir.
It's Tucson all over again. Everything's exactly the same.
We're all right. They don't suspect me. And I give you my oath it won't happen again.
Your oath? Don't make me laugh, Major.
Yes, I'm rid of that feeling. I'm cleansed. Look in my eyes. It's out of my system.
Until you get your hands on a jug again. You were a blooming maniac.
I'm not. That's not true. I was a hero during the war. I risked my life time and time again. Look at some of these medals.
The war's over, Major. And that won't wash out what you've done to these innocent girls.
Innocent. They were filth, and the world's a better place without them.
Oh, really? And just what did they ever do to you?
They exist.
That's no answer, Major.
Sergeant, I'm going to tell you a story. Want a surprise? I'm going to tell you about my mother.
I'm not interested in your mother.
My mother ran the most popular boarding house in the city, and it wasn't because of the quality of the rooms. Do you have any idea what it's like for a little boy to find that out about his mother? To hear dirty jokes? To be pointed out with a wink and a smirk? Do you want to hear more?
Where are you going? You take it easy. Anything happens to me, and they open a letter that puts a rope around your neck.
I don't think so. You could have turned me in after Tucson, but you didn't. Because you were a rear private with a bad record and no future. You wanted to climb aboard a gravy train, get a promotion, be my orderly, live my kind of life, share my money.
That's not how it happened. You begged me. You told me that I'd be a fool to pass up such a chance.
You tell that to a court and see where it gets you.
All right. You win. But there's got to be no more killing.
Oh, I told you there wouldn't be anyone else. No, it's over now. Over.
I pray that it is, Major.
Now, you just relax and enjoy your stay here. You may never have another opportunity to be at such a fine place.
All right. But doesn't the Major think that it's time for us to leave this place?
The Major does not. The Major has plans.
Plans?
Audra Barkley, Sergeant. I've never met anyone like her before. With her, I feel it would change everything.
Are you serious, man?
Yes, I am. She will be my salvation. She's pure. I feel I can fully and finally cleanse myself with her.
Well, we're off. Are you sure you're going to be all right?
Just fine.
Major, why don't you join us?
Where are you going?
Well, it's just the Cattlemen Association meeting, but we usually cut that short and sweet and get into the most cutthroat poker game you've ever seen.
Thank you, but I think I'll just stay here and keep the ladies company if you don't mind.
Well, all right.
Jared, don't keep a kicker.
Never. Where's Nick?
Where's Jared?
There's Nick.
And you, Nick, don't draw to an inside straight.
Oh, no, not me. I learned not to do that from you. You who beat me out of $5, remember? Well, that's very pretty playing, miss. Very pretty.
That's because you have no ear for music.
You are absolutely right. Major?
Nick, will you come on?
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you ladies don't mind.
Not a bit.
Well, now, Jared, you ready to lose the east wing of the Barkley Ranch?
Please don't stop. Not now.
You've heard my entire repertoire. Besides, it's time for coffee.
Mrs. Barkley. I'm going to marry your daughter.
I beg your pardon.
I said I'm going to marry your daughter. I hope this pleases you.
Major, well, we all admire you very much, and we are very grateful to you for what you have done, but...
Am I to understand that you're rejecting me?
Oh, no, no, no. In the final analysis, Audra's wishes are all that important. But you barely know each other. Aren't you being a bit hasty?
Hasty? Well, who knows how much life is left for you, for me, for anyone? Can't you see?
What's the matter?
She is opposed to our marriage.
Our marriage?
Yes. I won't permit it. I respect your mother, Audra, but our future together is really all that matters.
I'm sorry, but I don't love you. In fact, I barely know you. It takes time.
Time? There is no time. I thought you were different, but perhaps not. Perhaps there's another man. Lots of men. I thought you were pure, but... With your permission, ladies, I shall remove my unwelcome presence.
I've never seen him act like that.
Oh, Audra, he's a strange man. A very strange man.
Evening, Jared.
Oh, Fred.
Join me in a bite?
No, thanks. Coffee hot?
Sure, help us out.
How are you doing with Judd Crowley?
Oh, you mean has he confessed? No, as a matter of fact, he keeps hollering he didn't do it.
What do you think, Fred?
You know it doesn't make any difference what I think, Jared. It's up to the judge and the jury.
I mean just between us.
Well, all right. He's making a believer out of me, Jared. If it wasn't for Major Elliott identifying him the way he did, I don't think I'd even be holding him.
You mind if I have a little talk with him?
No. Wish you would. Judge, you got a visitor. Call when you're through.
Thanks, Fred. Hello, Judd.
What do you want, Barkley?
Just a little conversation.
How come?
Well, might be that I could help you.
The last help I got from a Barkley was a boot in the seat of my britches.
That's because you were drunk, Judd. Mean, fighting drunk just once too often. Nick warned you about it. You didn't listen.
Well, I've been doing this fine without the Barkleys, thank you.
Sure you have. That's why you're lying here in jail, booked on suspicion of murder.
I didn't do it.
I suppose you tell me about it.
Some people get all the breaks, that's all. I've been kicked around all my life.
Did you go back to Cora's room after the saloon closed?
No.
Major Elliott said he saw you going up the stairs.
The only thing I can figure, well, he must have seen somebody that looks a whole lot like me.
Light must have been pretty poor, right, Judd?
Well, that's the answer. That's the whole thing right there in a nutshell, ain't it?
Judd, if it comes down to your word or the Major's, you realize whose word the jury's going to take, don't you?
Yeah. But I didn't kill that girl. I couldn't kill anybody. Least of all her.
You were drunk.
Yes, I was drunk, and I was talking mean. That's all it was, just a lot of talk.
Judd, were you in Tucson, Arizona about a year ago?
I ain't never been to Tucson in my life. I was working for you a year ago, remember?
Does the letter A mean anything to you?
What are you talking about? I never learned how to read and write. Mr. Barkley, I'm going to tell you something. You probably ain't going to believe it.
Why don't you try me, Judd?
I was in love with that girl. I wanted her to marry me. She wouldn't do it. That's why I got so drunk. That's why I got thrown out of that place.
Tell me something, Judd. Do you feel that she was pure enough for marriage?
She was a good girl. She just never had no decent chance, that's all.
I don't mean any offense, Judd.
I wasn't good enough for her. Anyway, what difference does it make? I reckon she's gone now.
Fred?
Well, what do you think?
I agree with you. He didn't do it.
You gonna defend him?
Maybe, if it comes to that. Fred, do you remember hearing about the murder of a dance hall girl in Tucson, Arizona about a year ago?
No. Should I?
No? No reason why you should. It's just that I read a couple of lines in the San Francisco newspaper about it.
Well, the girls are getting beaten up and killed sometimes. It's not what you might call an easy trade.
Yeah, but this was special.
How special?
She was strangled and branded with the letter A.
Just to go with the sheriff of Tucson, Arizona.
That's right.
Saloon girl murdered and branded. Your town, approximately 1 year ago, is criminal still at large. Urgently request immediate answer and details of crime. Collect, care of this office. Signed, Fred Madden, Sheriff. You gonna wait on this?
We'll be over the Gold Eagle.
Rush it over just the second it comes in, will you, Nate?
Yes, sir, Mr. Barkley.
I was wondering when you were going to try it, Sergeant.
I don't know what the Major is suggesting.
The Major is suggesting that the Major would be no harm to the Sergeant when dead, and therefore incapable of contradicting whatever story the Sergeant chose to tell the authorities.
No, sir. I was just trying to keep you out of any further trouble by forcing you to leave. I figured if you stayed here much longer...
To the brave men of Dollar Creek.
Thanks, Nate. That Tucson gal died the same way poor Cora did, Sheriff. And they never caught the man that did it.
Let's go, Fred.
Major Elliott? Major, I thought I heard him.
You're impatient, aren't you, Meg? I was just coming to get you. Meg? Where are all your men now, Meg? They used you and they joked about it. But they can't help you now, can they, Meg? I loved you, Meg. I could kill you quickly, you know. But I won't. Because you must be punished. The whole world must know what you are.
No! No!
Say, Nick, do you see what I see?
And just what do you think you're doing?
Demonstrating the fact I'm no longer an invalid. I may even cook dinner for you tonight. He's coming home. Audra, I made it all by myself.
I don't believe it.
I did.
She certainly did. Well.
All right, you two, what's going on?
Well, we just got through talking to the Army. Seems they're very well satisfied with the North 40.
Oh?
Of course, we told them we didn't think so, but we'd let them know.
Well, why not? It would be good for the town and good for us, too, wouldn't it?
Atta girl, Audra. Nick, what do you say we take care of that little thing?
All righty. Bye, Mother. Audra.
I guess they were afraid they'd stir up some bad memories.
You know, it's strange, Mother. You were so brave and yet so gentle. I wonder what changed him into another man.
I don't know, Audra. I don't know. Because there were two men, you know. And they fought a silent battle that no one could see until finally they both died.
There she is. Where'd you get nerve enough to come back to this town? You don't belong here. Get out. Get out now.
You traitor! Stockton don't want you here. Go back where you came from, you Delilah, you.
Get out of this town. Go back where you belong. We don't want you here. Do you hear?
Traitor.
Get out. Do you hear?
We don't need you in this
We don't
town. You
want
better
you
get back up on that train.
Get out of our town.
Because you're not going to
We don't want you.
So just get back where you were, traitor.
You don't belong.
Murderer.
We don't need you. We don't want you. Excuse me.
I'm Ross Parker. This is my brother Worth. If you know what's good for you, get back on that train right now.
Let go of me.
Let her go, Ross. I said let her go. You boys go on about your business. It goes for the rest of you.
Thank you.
Get it.
All right, break it up. Come on now.
So you're going to bring a traitor part, huh?
We won't let her stay here.
The gaiety, please.
Not in my hack.
Now you know what you said.
Get out of here, Saxon. Confederate scum. Get out of town, you rebel traitor.
Get out.
Go back to your bed. Any part of you or your singing. Get out of here.
The train couldn't get you on the start.
Get out.
Get out of town. Who needs you?
Julia Saxon. How she can show her face outside the South is beyond me.
Where would you like to have lunch, young lady?
Why do you suppose she did it?
Did what?
Why do you suppose she came to Stockton, of all places? Does she think we've forgotten what she did?
Are you interested in lunch or not?
Jared, how can someone do that? Turn on their own people?
There have been spies as long as there have been wars, Audra.
But she was born and raised in the North. She wasn't a spy. She was a traitor.
Shall we make it the Stockton house?
The Stockton house?
For lunch.
Fine. I'll just freshen up.
they ran this Julia Saxon out of town on a rail.
Nick.
Well, I wouldn't.
Neither would I.
Oh, you two are in somewhat of a lynching mood tonight, aren't you?
Mother, what if it had been Nick or Heath or Jared that Julia Saxon?
But it wasn't. It was Matt Parker, so how can I answer that? Now, I can understand how Ross and Worth feel about what happened to their brother. But on the other hand, Julia Saxon has every right to appear in Stockton.
Sure she has. If she's interested in starting a riot.
Well, I wasn't here. I didn't know Matt Parker, but the war's over. Why don't people stop fighting it?
That's easy enough to say, Heath. But there are some things people can't forget.
And shouldn't.
May I suggest we drop the subject?
If you'll all excuse me, I've got to get back to town.
Tonight?
Tonight. Night, Mother.
Good night.
He was mighty quiet.
Well, he was closer to the Parker family than any of us. He and Matt were in the Army together.
Jared defended him at his court-martial.
And he's got just as much reason to dislike Julia Saxon as anybody else.
Come in.
Evening, lass.
Good evening, Mr. McGregor. How do I look?
Fine, fine.
How's the house?
Sold out?
Oh, that's wonderful.
I hope so.
You're worried.
I have been thinking, lass. With so many people feeling the way they do, not that I'm saying they're right, mind, but since they do, maybe you should,
Cancel my appearance.
Aye.
Just tonight, or completely?
Completely.
No.
I'm only thinking of you, lass.
Meaning you'll pay me for the week, even though I don't appear.
Well, now, I could hardly afford that, could I?
Well, I don't know, Mr. McGregor. But it doesn't really matter. Because we have a contract, and I intend to hold you to it.
You're on.
Lass, you can't go on. Those folk out there are just here to make trouble. I'm gonna cancel.
You do. And I'll sue you for every dime you have in this world. Sunshine warmed each day. Once I walked the happy road, but I have lost my way. Poor little sheep, fall fast asleep. Dream that no more need you roam. Dream some kind one will hear you weep, show you how to go home. So kind one find my happy road, the answers oh so clear. My hand in yours to tell your heart my happy road is here. Poor little sheep, fall fast asleep. Dream that no more need you roam.
Why don't you roam out of here?
Some kind one will hear you weep.
You don't know what weeping is, woman.
You how
Give me a tomato.
Why don't you go back where you came from? Don't you people know she killed Stockton boys?
You must have been pretty hungry to come back here. Here's some food for you.
Lower the curtain, man.
No, she's got it coming.
There's one with love from Matt Parker.
Why'd you come back here, Julia? You must have known what to expect. Here in Stockton or anywhere else you'd go. Your name is probably one of the most hated there is in the North. You should have stayed where you belong.
And where do I belong?
In the South. Seems to me you'd be safe there. Respected. Admired, maybe even loved. Why don't you go back?
No. I have every right to be here. I'm not a criminal. All I did was fight for what I believe in.
Fight?
Call it anything you want to. I'm not ashamed of what I did. Taking the South back into the Union. Why can't they take me?
Well, you can't go back to that hotel tonight. I'll take you back to the ranch with me. Put you on a train in the morning.
Jared. Don't shut me out. Listen to me. Talk to me.
I'll bring the buggy around and back.
Jared, I'll go to the ranch with you tonight. But I'm not getting on a train in the morning. Why are we stopping here?
I want to show you something.
I didn't know.
He was shot. Cleaning his revolver. Some people say it was an accident. Some people say it wasn't an accident at all.
And what do you think?
I know he didn't care to go on living. He tried to drink himself to death. Could be he just found a faster way.
Are you blaming me?
Who should I blame?
Did you kill anyone in the war, Jared?
Yes.
Does that make you a killer? Are you to blame, or was it the war?
That was different, wasn't it, Julia? The men I killed knew who I was and what I was. You weren't the enemy to Matt. You were the girl he was in love with. And he wasn't the only one, was he, Julia?
6 and a pair. That's 8. And it looks like I win. What? Let's see here. You owe me $495,000.
One more game, double or nothing.
All right, you deal. Well. Last I heard from you, Jared, you were going to work all night.
This is my brother, Nick.
Howdy.
This is Heath.
How do you do?
This is Julia Saxon.
What? What the devil's she doing here?
I'm Jared's mother, Miss Saxon. How do you do?
There was a little trouble in town tonight. I thought it'd be better if she spent the night here.
What kind of trouble?
I don't think we have to discuss that now, Nick. Miss Saxon, thank you.
All right, now hang on. How'd you get tangled up with her?
I don't care to talk about it tonight.
Well,
Nick.
I do.
Easy, Nick. Easy.
Easy nothing. Woman's nothing but trouble. Matt Parker was a friend of yours, you know.
I haven't forgotten.
Then why did you bring her here?
Because she couldn't go to the hotel and there was no place else for her to go. Now, it's as simple as that, Nick. Let it alone. She'll be gone in the morning.
I'll take care of the rig for you, Jared.
Thanks, Heath.
Jared! Jared! Didn't meet her just tonight, did you? You knew her before.
That's right.
When?
I met her in Washington during the war.
Well, now, why didn't you tell us?
I guess because I figured it wasn't any of your business, Nick.
Good night. Good night, Jared.
Come in.
Don't be upset with Nick.
I'm not.
Was it bad in town?
She was a fool to come here.
She must have wanted to see you very badly. You know that's the reason she's here, don't you? Why not San Francisco or any number of towns? Except for you. She's very beautiful. And I can understand how easy it would be for a man to fall in love with her, and how difficult it would be for him to forget her.
I'd forgotten her.
Oh, no. No, Jared. You can't forget someone you're running away from. And that's what you've been doing. I'm glad she's here. Now you can face it. Face whatever it is about her you've been carrying with you all these years. Now you can decide if what you feel toward her is love or hate. Perhaps it's neither one. Good night, Jared.
We're not going to Stockton.
No? I'm taking you to Grove Junction. You can catch a train there for Sacramento.
I won't. I'm
Julia.
not going. I won't. Now take me to Stockton.
Can't you see that you're just asking for more trouble?
I'm not running away. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life hiding in the South. Help me, Jared. If you hate me so much, why did you come in the Gaiety last night?
I don't hate you anymore, Julia. I did for a while after I found out what it was you wanted from me.
I never wanted anything from you. It's true. At first, yes. All I wanted was what information I could get from you. After that night you told me you loved me. Remember? I knew I loved you, too. I knew I couldn't use you.
That's when you decided to go after Matt.
It was my job. He meant nothing to me. I loved you, Jared. I still love you. I would have come here years ago, but I was afraid. Afraid you'd do what you've done.
What you expect? I just forgive and forget?
Oh, no. Not forgive. Perhaps not even forget. But to try and understand.
I understand. But I can't forget he never would have met you if it hadn't been for me.
Jared.
You still want to go to Stockton?
Yes.
All right. Get him. Hello, Fred. Come on in. What brings you out our way?
Trouble, Jared.
Oh?
Tom McGregor's been murdered.
What?
Stabbed with a letter opener from the desk in his office. I've arrested Julia Saxon. McGregor's stage manager, Chet Staley, said he heard Tom and the Saxon woman arguing.
Arguing about what?
Well, it seems Tom decided he'd had about enough after last night. Told her he was going to cancel her appearance. She demanded to be paid anyway. He refused. Staley said he heard a scuffle. He started for the office, saw the Saxon woman run out. He went into the office. McGregor was dead.
Where'd you arrest Julia?
Up in her hotel room. She was packing.
Did she say anything?
Only that she wouldn't answer any questions until she'd talked to you. Now listen, Jared. I want you to forget for a minute that I'm a lawman. I want to give you some advice. As one good friend to another. By now, everybody in town knows what's happened. They're real heated up about it. As far as they're concerned, Julia Saxon is guilty as sin. Now, if I was you, I would get as far away from that woman as I could get. Any lawyer who tries to defend her is going to be dead in this town. Maybe in more ways than one.
Staley is lying.
You didn't argue with McGregor?
I didn't even speak to him. I didn't have the chance. He was already dead when I went into his office.
Then why'd you run away?
Oh, I heard someone coming. I thought it might be the killer, and I just panicked.
When I got to the hotel, I started thinking how people in town feel about me. I knew they'd say I killed him, for one reason or another. So I decided to try and get away before McGregor's body was found. You don't believe me?
Give me one reason why I should.
Lying was my business once, wasn't it?
You were expert at it. Fred?
Are you saying you're not going to help me?
I'll have to think it over. Now, you say you saw Miss Saxon enter the club and go into McGregor's office just as you were coming from backstage, is that right?
Yeah.
How long would you say it was, Staley, between the time she came in and the time she left?
Maybe 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Not more than that.
Well, let's think about that a minute. I dropped her off in front at 5 minutes after 10, so 10 minutes later would make it 10:15 when you saw her leave. What'd you do then?
Well, I looked in there. I saw Tom dead, and I went for the sheriff.
Now, that's very interesting, Staley. The sheriff told me it was past 10:45 when you got to his office. That's 30 minutes between the time you saw her leave and the time you went to the sheriff's office. What'd you do all that time?
I was trying to help Tom.
Help Tom? Help him how? He was dead.
I wasn't sure of that.
Then why didn't you go for Doc Morar? His office is right down the street.
Look, I don't have to answer your questions.
Oh, yes, you do, Staley. Either now or at Julia Saxon's trial. Now make up your mind.
You get out of here.
What are you trying to hide?
Get out!
All right, Staley. I'll see you at the trial. Thank you, Fred.
Well, have you made up your mind?
Yes, I have.
You're going to defend me.
That's right.
And to what do I owe this honor? The fact that you think I'm innocent.
That's the only reason, Julia.
And how did you decide that?
Well, for one thing, I had a little talk with Staley. I'm convinced that he's lying about something.
Are you sure about that?
What do you mean?
I'm the expert at lying. Remember?
Julia, if you have something to say, why don't you just say it?
All right. Staley wasn't lying. I killed McGregor. So what are you going to do now? Or do you want time to think about it again?
Why didn't you tell me this before?
Oh, I was going to try and bluff it through. But I realized you'd get the truth sooner or later. You see, I don't have as much faith in my ability as a liar as you have.
Suppose you just tell me what happened.
Staley told you, didn't he?
He wasn't there.
He heard the argument. He saw me run away.
And that's all.
Isn't that enough?
Not for me.
Are you still my lawyer?
If I get your story.
Answer me. Are you?
Now you are lying, aren't you?
No!
Yeah. Oh, yes, you are. You didn't kill McGregor.
I did!
Why don't you stop it? This is no time for games or some stupid little test to see if I defend you, even if you are guilty.
Would you?
No.
I'm sorry. Silly of me, I suppose. But I wanted you to help me because of who I was, not what I was.
Julia, you'd better settle for what you can get. This town was ready to hang you before you ever got here. All they needed was an excuse. Believe me, now they've got it.
Sheriff? You wait here.
So, Ross? Worth?
We want to talk to you, Jared.
Friends of yours out there?
Well, some of them are your friends, too. Or they want to be.
Why are you doing it, Jared? Defending that woman.
I'm a lawyer, Ross.
That's no reason.
Isn't it?
Lawyers turn down cases. Nobody's making you defend her.
That's true.
Well, then why?
If I thought it was any of your business, Worth, I'd have consulted you before I took the case. As it is, you're right. No one is making me defend Julia Saxon. No one is going to make me not defend her either.
And that's the way it's going to be?
It can be any way you want it to be, Worth.
Now listen, Jared.
Oh, you listen, both of you. Now, if you're going to remind me that Matt was a friend of mine, don't bother. That has nothing to do with Julia Saxon now.
How can you say that?
Because she's charged with the murder of Tom McGregor. And not anything she did to Matt.
Nobody else around here looks at it like that.
Then that's another reason I'm going to defend her.
Jared, if you go through with this, you're done in this town.
Don't threaten me, Worth.
We're just delivering a message from your friends in Stockton, and you'd better listen. Now, you Barclays are big, but the people here can cut you down to size if they have a mind to.
Anything else?
That's it.
If you boys will excuse me, it's late. I've got a lot of work to do.
Come on, let's have a drink.
You'll be lucky to come out of this with just a broken window, you know. And why? What for? All right, maybe she didn't kill McGregor. Still no reason for you to go around sticking your neck out.
Nick, somebody has to.
Are you the only lawyer in the world, Jared? Why don't you bring in someone from the outside, like San Francisco or Sacramento? A man that doesn't have to make his living here in town after that trial's over.
Audrey.
I'd like to speak to Miss Saxon, if I may, Sheriff.
Well, now, your brother said I wasn't to let anyone see her without his say-so.
I don't think he meant that to include me.
Well, perhaps he didn't. All right. You have a visitor. Just call when you're through.
Thank you. What do you want?
I'd like you to do something for me.
Well?
I'd like you to ask Jared to withdraw from the case. You realize what will happen if he defends you. Win or lose, he'll have made an enemy of everyone in town. His law career will be ruined in Stockton.
Does Jared know you're here?
No.
I didn't think so. I'm sorry, Miss Barkley. I can't do what you ask.
You destroyed Matt Parker. And now you're going to destroy Jared. Don't tell me you're worried about insulting him after the things you've done. I'm sorry. I didn't come here to say things like that.
Miss Barkley. I don't want to hurt Jared. As hard as it may be for you to believe, I've never wanted to hurt anyone. Not Jared or Matt or any man who may have suffered because of me.
Then why?
You have to understand what it was like. Particularly in the early days of the war. People went back and forth across the lines. It was hard to believe there was a war. Especially if you were the kind of person I was.
What kind of a person were you?
Very young, very poor, and very, very ambitious. I didn't know what the war was all about. Not really. I didn't know and I didn't care. It just seemed stupid to me. And then one day in Richmond, a young Confederate lieutenant I knew invited me to a cotillion. It was in the most beautiful home I'd ever seen. And I met people. Rich, famous, important people. There were men there who could make me a star. What they asked in return seemed so unimportant. How could the bits and pieces of information I might get help them or hurt anyone else? By the time I knew better, it was too late. The war was almost over. There was no turning back. No undoing what I'd done. So I did the next best thing. I tried to lie to myself. Pretend that I worked for what I believed in. Now I can't even do that anymore.
You told Jared this.
I never told anyone. What would have been the point? I explain something. It doesn't excuse anything. And it doesn't change a thing.
Sheriff?
Miss Barkley. If you think Jared will withdraw if I ask him to, I will.
You're right. He wouldn't. And I won't ask him to.
Thank you.
Evening, Jared.
Hello, Fred.
Working late tonight.
Yeah,
Glad when this trial's over.
I think we all will. Night, Fred.
Good night.
The sheriff found you this morning.
Town, livery stable.
Who did it, Jared?
I don't know. They wore masks.
Real brave boys.
I gotta get out of here.
Not for a while yet, I'm afraid.
I got a murder trial.
You can get a postponement, Jared.
Oh, no. It starts Monday.
This is laudanum. He'll sleep now for a while longer.
Come on.
Mind telling me where we're going?
If Jarrett thinks Julia Saxon is innocent, that's good enough for me. We've got a couple of days to stop her from being railroaded.
What if the trial's postponed?
Oh, it won't be. Not with old Judge Crawford on the bench.
Why?
Because he lost a couple of sons during the war. Jarrett thinks that Staley is lying about something. I think it best we find out what.
Let's go.
Staley! Staley! I'll wait for him to show up right here. Why don't you check the stable?
All right.
Hi, Heath.
We heard what happened to Jared.
When? Before or after it happened?
Or you don't think we had anything to do with it?
Listen, we've been friends with the Barclays since long before anybody even heard about you.
So?
So, I'll bet Nick and Jared know better.
Well, I don't know about Jared, but Nick's right inside. Why don't you ask him?
Ross.
What are you doing here?
Good afternoon, Mr. Staley. You, had a talk with my brother the other day.
What about it?
Well, he got the distinct feeling that, well, you weren't telling the whole truth. Well, I just thought I'd best stop by to see if I got the same feeling.
You get out of here.
And you know something? I do.
Get out!
Even without talking to you, I do. You see, my brother Jared's a lawyer. Well, he has to more or less mind his manners. I mean, he could never force you to talk. But I don't have to worry about that. You killed McGregor.
No!
You're lying.
No! Don't talk. Please! You there, spit it out! Talk! Worth Parker killed him.
Why?
They got into an argument over Julia Saxon appearing here. Worth told Tom to get rid of her the next time she tried to sing. He'd burn the place down. Tom got mad. He told Worth to get out. Worth started shoving him around, and they got into a fight, and Worth stabbed him.
You saw him?
Ross said him and his brother would help me buy the place if I forgot about it. Just then we heard Julia Saxon coming in, and Worth got the idea of putting the blame on her.
Well, we're gonna go see the sheriff. You know what Worth did?
I know.
You're not going to use that gun in here. Folks would hear it.
You killed him. For a miserable traitor like Julius Saxon, you killed him!
You all right, Nick?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'll get the sheriff.
Julia.
I went by the hotel, but you'd already left.
Did you get my note?
Yes, I got your note.
I guess there isn't anything more to say, is there?
Where are you going, Julia?
Back to the South, where you said I belong. Why did you come, Jared?
I couldn't let you leave without telling you how much I wish things could have been different.
I wish things could have been different, too.
What?
Goodbye, Jared.
Goodbye, Julia.